Welcome to America's Day at the Races. It is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Happy Thursday afternoon, everyone. Thank you for spending part of your afternoon with us here in Elmont, New York, as we get set for bringing you the entire card today. From Belmont Park, I'm Greg Wolf. With me, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Sterling. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited.
We're going to get into this first race in a moment. We have a good sprint later on today. On her way, and we're going to talk about a little bit later on, but Charlie Baker just claimed off of Linda Rice. Last time that she was here at Belmont, she was a winner at this same distance.
I agree, and she's the one who has, I think, the better recent form of the two horses. I know Pause for the Cause, who may well be favored in that race. She's been facing tougher horses, but I like the form of On Her Way a little bit better, and she's probably going to be the second choice in that race.
I thought Pause for the Cause going the wrong way a little bit.
A little bit, you know. I mean, obviously, Turf to Dirt will help her, but I'm just not sure she's necessarily the better horse right now.
We're coming up on our first race almost immediately here. We begin with a $25,000 claiming event here, mile and a 16th on the inner turf in Barica for Danny Gargan. 3-5, huge favorite. I thought beatable.
I thought that VIP Nation, the number 2, was not particularly less likely to win than Bariqua. I thought she had a pace advantage to that one. VIP Nation was compromised by a bad break last time. And you have to imagine with a clean break today, and Kendra Carmouche, she's going to the front here, and I think she's a major threat. In fact, while we were starting the show, as you may have noticed, I was betting on VIP Nation.
That's what you were doing.
Of course I was betting. What do you think I was doing? Sending you a text?
Oh, no, I wondered why you were so late to the set. Pure Praise, the 5.
That was early for me. What are you talking about?
It was early for you. I thought the 5 Pure Praise could spring the upset. It was only 3 parts of a length behind Barica last time out when they met, and is still relatively lightly raced on grass.
I'm not knocking anybody to play against Bariqua. Bariqua may win this race, but and I know it's Danny Gargan, but 3-5 on her, that's a little tough to take.
There she is, moving in line on those green and black silks of Midwest Thoroughbreds. Jose Lezcano on board. Odds on favorite. Early pick 5 begins right here. Do we have a vulnerable odds on favorite? Let's set it upstairs. Here's Larry Colmus with the call.
Last one to come forward will be Pumpery, taking position in the outside stall. And they're all in line. They're off. Barica missed the break by a bit there. Came out at the back of the pack. VIP Nation out to the front. Glam, Pure Praise, and to their inside it's Miss Loyalty, who are right behind. And then Puppery going up outside of horses. Barica at the rear of the field after hesitating at the start has now moved up a spot and takes over 5th position, 4.5 lengths off the lead. So onto the backstretch they go with VIP Nation in control here, and Pure Praise a length and a half off of her as they head to the backstretch in 25.69 seconds. Puppery is 3rd on the outside, and then it's Glam, followed by Barica, who travels along in 5th, 4.5 lengths from the front, halfway up the backstretch. Miss Loyalty is 6 lengths off of front-running VIP Nation and Kendra Carmouche, who continue to make the pace up the backstretch, with pressure from Pure Praise on the outside, who's 3/4 of a length behind after a half mile in 50.04. After that, it's Pumpery, Glam to the inside of them, and then Barica, who's still 5th and still 4.5 lengths to make up. The trailer is Miss Loyalty. The racing for the far turn, VIP Nation a length and a half. Pure Praise continues to pursue from that 2nd position, and then it's Pumpery and Glam, and Barica's going to come outside of them now. Jose Lezcano brings her out there 3 wide, and now will be 4 deep as they make their way to the top of the stretch. VIP Nation on top as they turn for home. Barica comes 4 wide and now makes a move up into 2nd position, and these two will decide it with a furlong to run, and Barica runs up alongside and runs by VIP Nation. Leaving the others behind, Pure Praise is 3rd, and then comes Glam on the outside. It is Barica and VIP Nation trying to fight her, but Barica's got it. A half length on the wire to VIP Nation. It was 4.5 back to Glam and Pure Praise.
Barica, horrible beginning, left for last, and still able to get up and win this race here at, in the end, 4-5.
Yeah, I guess there was a reason she was 4-5. The pace was slow. She broke 2 lengths behind the field. She circled the field. Nobody else, if you watch this race and you take Bariqua out, Greg, it's like a total merry-go-round race. Nobody ever moved an inch in this race except Bariqua. And as somebody once said, I've known Bariqua. I've been around Bariqua. This is not the Bariqua I've seen during her career. So either the others all ran terribly or Bariqua ran surprisingly well in here.
Completely left, 4 wide around the turn.
I bet on the 2, VIP Nation, and she didn't take a tough beat. She had no excuse to lose. I don't know where this race came from, Bariqua. They were way ahead of the rest of the field. I know she was a heavy favorite, but she ran very, very well to win this race.
Keep your eyes post position 3, and this was the beginning that in the end did not cost Bariqua, but not the way you want to start here. After this, it seemed like it was going to be very tough to get home.
No, I mean, it's the first words out of Larry Colmus's mouth, right? That Bariqua blew the brake, and he's right to do it. She's a heavy favorite, and she blows the brake. And it's, you know, there are times that getting left doesn't really matter. If there's a big speed duel up front, and you're a deep closer, and you're going to be last, and they're going fast up front, it may not matter. But when the opposite happens, when your chief competition is waltzing around on an easy lead, 50 seconds flat to the half, and she still circles the field, and as you say, makes a wide move on the turn, and still does it, I mean, she was just best.
It didn't even get to, you know, sometimes, yeah, like you mentioned, sometimes it can almost be a blessing in disguise. Didn't even get to tuck in and save ground around the racetrack.
No, she just was going to, and essentially, she was going to win this race under almost any circumstances if she won under these.
Midwest Thoroughbreds, Danny Gargan, Jose Lezcano, and Bariqua. 4-5, runs to those odds, no question, after a terrible beginning. Our track conditions, of course, they're brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, as always, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Racetrack. Fast and firm, Piranha on, pests gone. Let's take a look at the races we're going to show you here this afternoon. The entire card we're bringing you, as mentioned at the top of the show, fast and firm for today's action, and we'll get into the pick 4 coming up next. And, you know, we talked a little bit about that sprint race in the 7th, interesting race. And that 8th race, I thought, intriguing as well. A couple other turf races, too, that make today's card very interesting.
Race 4, I mean, I think race 4 is a race you can narrow down to about 6 horses in here. And, you know, I don't know about the morning line where they have Teachable Moment 15-1. I think Teachable Moment would be the overlay of the century at 15-1 in that field. Maybe not the likeliest winner, but I agree, that 4th race is a good one.
Get signed up, play along, bet $200. You'll get $200 in your account, as you just saw on that graphic moments ago. The promo code is live to get involved. Use that at sign up. Bet with Naira Bets. Bet at any track, anywhere, anytime. Bariqua, $3.70 for the victory. 3-2-4 finish here in the opener. Midwest Thoroughbreds, Danny Gargan, and a 6-year-old mare picks up her 2nd win here of her 2019 campaign. And a formful start to our card.
She had actually gotten good for Danny Gargan at Midwest, and then Midwest took the horse away from Danny Gargan sometime late in 2017, and she lost her form, but she seems to be back as good as ever for Gargan now. And they came back to Gargan, and they started winning again.
Speaking of as good as ever, he was the meet's leading rider, his first ever Naira Circuit riding title in the spring-summer meet. He's up to his old antics again here. The fall meet, Jose Lezcano. Let's go to Acacia Courtney.
Standing by in the winner's circle with Jose. Greg, and you're right, certainly been in a groove. And Jose, you rode this horse last time. Tell me about your trip today. Didn't get off to the greatest start with her.
Yeah, you know, last time she broke better. Today she moved around inside the gate a little bit, you know, and she caused the break. It kind of broke up a little bit. But at the same time, she's, you know, the field is not that big, you know, she's got the position. I want to be kind of early and you go on and win the race, like the best horse in the race, I think, you know.
You saying you had the best horse there, and you ran down the pace setter and the 2-horse. What were you thinking as you were coming down to the wire?
Well, I got plenty of horse, you know, and 8 pot to the wire, I still got a lot of horse.
Do you think that anything changed with her between last time and this time? She was very, very good today.
Yeah, she ran good last time, you know, a little tough race today, last time, but she ran her race today, you know.
Jose, thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Continuing in that good groove, and sometimes just a little class relief is all that's needed, and that was the key today for Bariqua, Greg.
Well, Jose Lezcano, he's going to go to work for Chad Brown coming up in the next race. How about that? Riding on Mubarmaj, who is 6-5 on the board. Shadwell stable. We're going to see him right back in race 2, breaking from the rail.
Yeah, and Mubarmaj ran to a very tough field last time. The winner of that race was a first-time starter for Todd Pletcher, who ran a huge race to get the victory. The second-place finisher came back and ran a huge race to lose again to another Todd Pletcher horse. This time, a horse has been off for 2 years. But that was a good field he was in with. But he's got real competition at Spice Road.
Yeah, no question. Spice Road, yeah, even money favorite right now. We'll talk more about this second in a moment, unless that's where your best bet comes from. Where are you going today?
My best bet does not come from the second race, a race I can't separate the two favorites. I'm going to try race number 7, a race that you mentioned earlier, where Pause for the Cause figures to be favored and can win, but I like the 5 Honor Way. Now, I know Honor Way is off the claim for Charlie Baker, but I have a lot of respect for Charlie Baker, really as much respect as I have for Linda Rice, and that's a lot. And to my way of thinking, Honor Way may be one of these horses that's okay in a wet track, but is a little better in a dry track, and I just think she's been in terrific form over the last number of months. And when I look through this field, I think there's going to be enough pace towards the front end to help her closing kick, and I just think she's not going to be favored, and she might be the best form, or have the best form of any of the contenders in this race.
That is coming up in the 7th. Rail horse in there. Go Nani Go is out. The rest do remain, but yeah, we'll see. Pause for the Cause did get the best of Honor Way, but she didn't run a race at all when they met before.
Yeah, no, and the good Pause for the Cause can win.
We're going to take a break. Can Got Stormy go back-to-back against the boys? 4-star Dave winner looks to add the Woodbine Mile to her resume. We'll have a preview of her chances when we come back here on America's Day at the Races.
Hip 596, a colt by Eclipse champion Run Happy. Out of the well-proven Quiet American mare, Queen of America, this colt is a half-brother to 4 graded stakes horses, including Well-Moneyed, Economic Model, and Your Love. His second dam is half-sister to Grade 1 stakes winner Nanny Sweep. Consigned by Claiborne Farm, selling at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We have tremendous bonus coverage coming up this weekend for you, not just Belmont Park. We also have coverage north of the border at Woodbine and the prestigious Woodbine Mile. And this is going to be a loaded group that we have coming up this weekend. Of course, Scott Stormy is one of the big stories after not just the win she produced, the time, the way she did it off a week's layoff, winning against the boys in the 4-star Dave.
No, I mean, she was just sensational. And, you know, I don't love hyperbole, but she was like a flash in the stretch. Right? I remember looking up during the race and thinking, who is that? And that was something, and I think you and I both had the same question. She came back just a week after a big performance in the De La Rose. Can she duplicate this performance? Did a race like this take a lot out of her? If it didn't, she runs back to it. They're probably all running for second, Greg.
I would think so off this performance. But again, she wins the De La Rose, as you mentioned, August 3rd. This was 7 days later. Her trainer didn't want to go in this spot. Gary Barber had to basically force Mark Cassie's hand to say, I want to run in here. It turned out to be a brilliant decision. You saw that time, 132 flat, new track record. But at some point, you got to ask, does it start to take its toll? Now facing boys again. Yeah, she's had a month, but does it catch up to her?
I wonder if it does, and it concerns me a little bit. I mean, obviously, some will look at Raging Bull, finished behind her. I think Made You Look, who finished behind her in 5th, might be the oddball stranger you want out of that race for at least a piece.
Meanwhile, Luke Cullen had a productive Saratoga and a Belmont effort before that off the bench, but came to Saratoga in the lure, favored, got up to win by a nose. For Kieran McLaughlin, he's 2 for 2 on his comeback trail.
Now, obviously, the competition gets a lot steeper in here, and to ignore that would be foolish. What I like about Luke Cullen's 2 wins coming back is each one of them was a bit against the flow of the race. You look at the race 2 back, he had to be close to a very slow pace, wide the whole way, and he still won quite easily against a solid field. But last time out, he was close to a pace that collapsed and made the first move and still won.
Meanwhile, Silent Poet, going to be a big price for Nicholas Gonzalez, but loves it at Woodbine. 5 for 7 on that turf course and never has been worse than second.
I can't argue against this horse. The horse has been absolutely terrific, and what I have to like about him is he keeps improving with every start. Now, even though he's won at a mile before, he's never won at a mile at this kind of competition, so he's got to step up another furlong and be tougher horses.
Oh, yeah, you said the going gets tougher for Luke Cullen. You can double that for Silent Poet.
No, I agree. Listen, I love seeing the Woodbine horses up there. It always feels like at least one of them overachieves in this race. They have that home court advantage, and I don't think you're supposed to ignore that.
Mike Stidham will bring 6-year-old son of Tappet, Synchrony, who's coming off a Group 2 win at Woodbine in the King Edward.
Right, and the thing about Synchrony is he's traveled around. He's not just a Woodbine horse, and I don't mean just a Woodbine horse because they have terrific racing up there, but he's a horse who's run big races on other tracks. He's beaten a couple of lengths to Bricks and Mortar in that slow-paced Munez. He's won down at Fairgrounds as well. He's run competitively at Monmouth behind Almanar, who's a good
great
horse.
one placed.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legitimate horse, and in some ways, you could argue he's one of the main competitors in this race to the favorite.
Well, look at those who've won the Woodbine Mile, Breeders' Cup Mile double in the same year. It is a small list. Wise Dan, world approval for Marcassi. Of course, Marcassi also had Tepin. Now he thinks he has the next Tepin and got Stormy in the way that she ran last time out in the 4-star Dave. You might be right.
She looked like Tepin in the 4-star Dave. She didn't look like Tepin in her other races. The question is, can she do what she did when she looked like Tepin in a number of races, something that Tepin did, and I'm sure that Mark would never disrespect Tepin, maybe one of the best horses, if not the best horse he ever trained. Gut Stormy's got a long way to go to prove she's Tepin, but she certainly had a terrific race last time.
We are going to have live coverage. Woodbine Mile coming up this Saturday. Win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And, you know, even that small list of horses pulled off the double, a lot of horses who did not win the Woodbine Mile have gone on, who've run in that race, to win the Breeders' Cup Mile. It's an impressive list. Very prestigious race over the years. As we take a look at the odds for race 2, it is a 1-turn mile, maiden special weight. Is this just a 2-horse race?
I think it is. I mean, I don't ever like to just sort of concede, but it sure feels like it, doesn't it?
6-5 favorite. There's Spice Road. Blinkers going on today for Kieran McLaughlin. Never been off the board. 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Can Spice Road, son of Street Sense, break through, get the first win of his career this afternoon? We will find out. Paddock Report, post-parade. When we come back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2.
Each year, a new dream begins. To achieve that dream, you could never rest on past success.
Audible, no doubt about it. He won it by 2.5.
Yoshida storming home in the center. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the Woodward.
Wake up, little one. It's time to dream big.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Whether you have Derby dreams or midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify!
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybred.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, our show brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy, now standing at Claiborne Farm for $25,000. Raced his entire career, medication-free, and he was brilliant. Even when he was, before we knew who he was, very first race he ever ran, he showed his brilliance on the racetrack, and now standing at stud and being well-received. We'll have more on how he's doing at the sales coming up. Right now, our second race, one-turn mile ahead, Spice Road, Mubarmaj. 6-5, 7-5 on the board, respectively.
You know, it's a tricky one. I think Spice Road's going to benefit from cutting back from a mile and 8 to a mile, 2 turns to 1 turn. Not because he's necessarily more proficient around 1, but it just seems like horses. Think of yesterday, that huge performance from Rodzikowski yesterday. I know she was heavily favored. I didn't love her either. You have a look at your face like you tried to beat her just like I did. She ran a 90 buyer. Yeah. I mean, your race in Saratoga were nothing to get too excited about around 2 turns. But boy, when they cut her back to the 1-turn mile 16, she was like a stakes horse yesterday.
It can make all the difference in the world. We're 10 minutes to post here in race 2. Let's get a paddock report. Check in with Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. And looking at the number 1 to the inside for trainer Chad Brown, and Andy brought up a good point about the differences in distances, and this one's going to be stretching out for the first time, and that is the number 1, Mubarmaj. And being by Cullen, certainly can understand how some added real estate will benefit him. It's interesting with the pedigree on the immediate bottom side. The mare, both of her wins were on the turf, 2 siblings, 1 on the turf, and he did have 1 sibling, Sacristy, who was a grade 3 winner. That was a good dirt sprinter. Interestingly enough, looking at this Colton here, I do think he's going to appreciate the added real estate. He has a little bit of a turfy hoof on him. I wouldn't mind seeing him try the grass. So I'll be interested to see how he does handle it. He's good in his muscle definition, a bigger size resembling of his sire. So I think he should handle the stretch out without a problem. And being from the outside post, he was moving and being asked heading into the turn last time out in his debut. Thought he finished up solidly. Now, Spice Road, he did cross the wire first 2 starts back and was disqualified. Then last time out did run that 9 furlongs, a much different type of race than what he's going to have today. I actually do think, though, fitness-wise, that was a very beneficial race for him. He has a little bit of leaner muscle definition than I saw from him last time. They do add the blinkers on today as well. Looks like a pretty medium-sized cup with a hole in it. Nothing too over the top for him. But again, he looks more fit, stayed with the pony. They saddled him on the walk just as he did last time. He got pretty warm before the race in Saratoga last time out as well. It's certainly not as much of a warm day here at Belmont today, so he's handling himself better as well. Good fitness and perhaps some good mental benefits from that last race as well. A first-time starter that looked a little bit interesting is the 3 Hale Michigan. He will debut with a pretty well-covered blinkers on for Barkley Tag and has been working pretty sharply, had a good gate work, though he had to be a bit hard-ass for that. They really did seem to put in a good sharp drill from him in preparation for his first start.
Acacia, thank you. Our post-parade coming up. We have a nice little breeze out here this afternoon. I love this kind of weather. I'm back from the Bay Area, a little foggy almost. Reminds me of San Francisco.
What's that line? The coldest summer I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco.
Yeah.
San Francisco's such
True.
a great city, though.
Freezing in the summertime.
You grew up right in that area?
But just across the Golden Gate Bridge, 20 minutes north.
It's awesome around there, though. Near the Muir Woods? Were you living in the Muir Woods?
I was about 10 minutes away from there.
They're awesome. The Redwoods?
Oh,
great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mubarmaj, son of Cullen. This is start number 2 for trainer Chad Brown.
Chad Brown has good numbers. He's a 3rd, stretching out in their 2nd start with maidens, and this horse ran against some very good horses first time out.
Spice Road, Kieran McLaughlin, 2 seconds, 2 thirds in 4 starts.
Blinkers go on this horse after running well in the previous 2 starts. The horse to beat.
Now, horse who beat him last time would go in the Travers next, although didn't do a whole lot of running in that race. First-time starter, Hale, Michigan, for Barclay Tagg.
I'm wondering if Barclay Tagg's using this one as a prep to get on the turf the next time out. We'll see.
12-1 was 7-2 morning line, taking no play.
Who made this horse 7-2 morning line?
Who called this horse Hale, Michigan? The dams all for Georgia. It's fighting words. Own it if you want it, Tom Albertrani.
You know, the dirt races are okay, but I think it just shows disparity between the two favorites and the rest of the field.
Road to Meath, 6-1. Kendrick Carmouche, welcome back, by the way, Kendrick.
It's not just that Road to Meath is coming off an 8-month layoff, but that 8-month layoff is preceded by an 8+ month layoff as well. So you've got a horse now making just its second start in the last year and a half.
It is Chad Brown, by the way, the other Chad Brown runner in the race. 4-5 now on the one to beat. Go ahead.
I got a funny thing about Road to Meath. The second race that Road to Meath ran was favored and ran 5th behind Avery Island. Avery Island is a half or full to Spice Road.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And there, well, we were looking at Spice Road. Spice Road odds on right now. This horse has had opportunities.
But has won. I mean, to be fair, to be fair, I think we can all have a relatively agree that had he not banged in to meet me in L.A. 2 races back, he probably would not have won that race. I mean, he's going to come out. This was a very legitimate DQ, not only a herd, but like every time Meet Me in L.A. was going to go by him, he sort of came out into him. Still, Meet Me in L.A., at least at that point, was coming off a second-place finish behind the winner of the Cullen, Highest Honors, who actually ran respectable in the Travers. I mean, he's a legitimate racehorse, and last time out, his scars are cool, as you said. Yeah, he didn't run well in the Travers, but he ran the Travers, and he ran very well to beat him.
So 4-5 or 3-2 is basically the question in this race. And you do have a horse who's more lightly raced, who was all the way on the outside in the debut, and comes from a barn that you know is most likely going to move them forward.
And he got to think at a mile now, after that fast pace in the 6 furlong race, this horse is going to come blasting off in the inside, right? And just may have more natural speed than Spice Road. And we've seen a track so far in the first few days at Belmont that's been very kind inside speed.
Here is the debut. And is it just, do you like to see, or does it not matter with Chad Brown, 2 sprints before the stretch out, or not a big deal for you?
I don't think about it that much. I'm not sure if it's something that matters. I think he right away wanted to get the stretch out with this horse. And keep in mind, he also trained Free Enterprise, the horse who's finishing second. And this horse was a gigantic price. So I'm feeling like this horse probably outran his odds. Now, maybe he ran surprisingly well there, and now he's got to step forward when he beats Spice Road. But I mean, it's only 6.5 furlongs to a mile. It's only 3/16 to a mile. It's not that huge a stretch, right?
And but Free Enterprise, by the way, I want to say that horse has started 3 times, all at near favored or odds on, and all narrow defeats for Chad Brown.
Except, well, his first race, he was a bit of a price. He lost to that good Shug McGay horse who won on Travers Day, who won his next start. Not foreigner.
Oh, I know who
you know, I mean, that horse looks like a stakes horse.
Yeah.
Then he lost to this first-time starter for Todd Pletcher, ran his eyeballs out, and then he lost to that Todd Pletcher horse who had run a huge race. But he has lost 2 straight races at a very short price. I agree.
Is it?
But
I want to say Prophecy.
No,
something like
horse
that.
Of Shugs.
I know.
Doesn't start with an F.
We'll get it. Meanwhile, here's
Freedom?
the 4.
No.
Own it if you want it.
Someone will text me.
Tom Albertrani, so recently gelded. The last 2 starts have come on turf, but back on dirt prior to that had back-to-back second-place finishes.
I would say he's a better horse on dirt than he is on turf overall. I'm not going to knock his race in the dirt. I mean, he did finish second to a horse named Country House in his second career start. And as you say, it's also his first race since March on the dirt, right? He hasn't had a real chance to grow up. So what if he's improved as a horse and he's not really a turf horse?
By the way, that's a Kentucky Derby winner, for those of you that didn't catch that reference. We're going to send it downstairs, who he faced and ran second to Acacia.
I got what you're saying.
He's kept some good company, that's for sure, Greg, as we'll pick it up where you left off with Own It If You Want It. I've been waiting to see this horse get back on the main track. I agree with Andy. I think that's his preferred surface. Now, he is a new gelding, and sometimes that just does help horses to maybe tighten up a little bit, and it looks like that's been the case. He's nice and tight in his muscles and fit, warmed up beautifully getting over the track as well. So he could be a little bit of a player in here. This may be a compact field, but I think it's a very interesting one. Now, the other Chad Brown is the 5 Road to Meath, and this horse has had 5 starts already. Clearly had a little bit of trouble sticking on the racetrack, as came back in January after an extended layoff. We haven't seen him since January, and he ran okay in that race at Gulfstream, and again, we haven't seen him since then. I did prefer his stablemate, and speaking of his stablemate, the number 1, Mubar Maj, just talking about warm-ups, he was very quick, aggressive away from the pony, and Andy touched on this, that maybe we're going to see some speed from him. That certainly looks like it was the intention, given the inside post and the type of warm-up that he had under Jose Lascano, really asking him right as soon as they stepped onto the track. And finally, the longest price on the board, I think, is absolutely one you should use. The 3 Hail Michigan had a lovely collected stride, beautiful warm-up to him. I know he had to be hard-ass from that last gate work, but he's got good size to him. Really could be a nice price horse for Barclay Tagg, who looks well prepared and like he's going to find the right conditions for his debut.
Keisha, thank you. Tough to win first time out. Tough to win first time out going long as well, even tougher.
Absolutely, and he picked a particularly tough spot. I mean, this is not your run-of-the-mill race. These are some really talented horses in here between the 1, 2, and even maybe Own If You Want It. I'd be very surprised if Hail Michigan is effective at all in this race. We'll see. You never know. We did get our producer, Bobby Klatt, unlike the 2 old guys up here that can't remember what we did yesterday. It was Performer.
You're going to bunch me in with you?
And you're not as ancient as I am, but you're, you know, if you had gotten the name, I would have cut you a little slack.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. Much sharper. I can't remember anything anymore.
Well, there's so many names going through your head, and Performer's one you want to remember. You know, Shug McGay may look for an hours or 2, but won't be surprised if he finds a stakes race for that as horse as well.
Performer, Indian Pride, 3-year-old filly for Chad Brown.
Raven Run, maybe.
Those were a couple of the, you know, not the bigger name stakes race winners, but horses that you definitely want to remember from that meet.
I agree. To me, that's one of the great things about Saratoga. And debut winners, even this horse, NYC, the horse who beat the rail horse in this race. That's one you want to look for Todd Pletcher. I agree. We saw some very exciting horses this summer in Saratoga.
For Shug.
Mrs. Danvers, the 2-year-old filly for Shug. She might be the best 2-year-old filly we saw the whole summer in Saratoga.
No, you could be right. 4 to 5 on the 2. Spice Road for Godolphin, Kieran McLaughlin. John Velasquez hopping on board for the first time on this one. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Just waiting for Own It If You Want It and Road to Meath to complete the line here. They're all in line. They're off. A bit of a stumble by Spice Road coming out of there. Own It If You Want It, Road to Me. Then from there inside, Mubar Maj now rushing up to grab the front. Then Spice Road and Hail Michigan. Up the backstretch, and it's Mubar Maj to the early lead. And now Spice Road has moved up into second inside of Own It If You Want It. Road to Meath tracks them from 4th, and Hail Michigan is 4.5 lengths off of front-running Mubar Maj and Jose Lascano, who complete a 23.12 opening quarter mile. Head up the backstretch, 3/4 of a length ahead of Spice Road. Own It If You Want It is perched outside of those 2, running in 3rd. Break of another 2 to Hail Michigan inside of Road to Meath as they head toward the far turn. It is Spice Road coming up on the outside of Mubar Maj. The 2 of them are right together now with Own It If You Want It outside of them. The 3 of them across the track. A 46.08 half mile, and now nothing separates the top 3. Road to Me is sent along a length and a half off of them, and Hail Michigan's under heavy pressure on the inside. Now Spice Road to the front by a neck on the far turn. Mubar Maj cutting the corner in second. Own It If You Want It trying to keep up with them as they make their way to the top of the stretch. 3/4 in 10.17 seconds. And it is battling on Mubar Maj on the inside of Spice Road, who now sticks ahead in front once again. Mubar Maj on the inside, Spice Road on the outside. They're well clear of their competition. Own It If You Want It is 3rd. It is Mubar Maj. And Mubar Maj is pulling away late to beat Spice Road by about 3 lengths in the end. And then came Own It If You Want It in Road to Meath.
Well, it became a stretch duel between the two big favorites, and here's Spice Road. Little green here, some weaving in the stretch. Muber Maj graduates, start number 2.
No, I agree with you. I don't like the way Spice Road was drifting out at the end. And it looked like, honestly, it looked, I think, to me, and I think Larry Colmus felt the same way, that Spice Road was the one who was kind of going more easily at this point, right? I mean, it looks like Jose Lezcano's been sort of niggling a little bit at Muber Maj and asking him to go a bit earlier. Spice Road, when they come in the stretch, you could tell right away it was Muber Maj. Now, to be fair, the rail has been pretty good here on the main track, so maybe he was helped by position, but he was the best horse here, Greg, at the end, wasn't he?
No.
Except for the start, right?
No, yeah, we'll go back to the beginning in a moment here. But yeah, pulls away late. And Muber Maj, talented horse here, gets it done. Second time out, son of Cullen for Shadwell. Let's go back to the beginning. Keep your eyes on the 2 here.
Yeah, let's see what happens right at the start. Yeah, he went down. I mean, it wasn't a terrible stumble. I wouldn't say that's an excuse enough. And I think
No,
we
but
both
never
were
good.
cons-
Yeah,
no.
never good to start like that. Your feet underneath you.
You know, it's funny because it's Godolphin and Kieran McLaughlin, and Kieran also trains for Shadwell as well, who Chad Brown trained the winner for. Kieran McLaughlin had a very nice-looking 2-year-old win yesterday. Was it the first race or second race yesterday? First race yesterday. That Shadwell horse that won quite easily. Got a 79 buyer winning off quite easily.
Okay.
The name escapes me. They're all a little bit tough to remember. Well, the name isn't, but the winner of the first race, should say, for Shadwell. So this is 2 straight days that Shadwell's had a nice-looking maiden breaker. This one a 3-year-old, yesterday a 2-year-old.
So Muber Maj, in the end, even money as your second choice. Jose Lezcano.
Back-to-back.
I'd like to see him riding for Chad Brown, getting the opportunity.
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, listen, people forget Chad Brown's first horse, and it was Ajaweed, yesterday's horse, that won the first race. Thank you, Greg. The first big horse that Chad Brown had was Maram, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And I believe Jose Lezcano, Breeders' Cup Juvenile turf, a filly turf race. It's a mouthful. I think that Jose rode him.
Really?
Yeah.
Muber Maj graduates, start number 2. We're going to get into the Empire 6. He's doing a Chad Brown impersonation right here.
Wit, yeah.
We'll be back. We'll have the prices from the second, set up the start of the Empire 6 when we return. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
With the exception of Franco, Air Force Blue is Timeform's highest-rated juvenile in nearly 20 years. He was a 3-time Grade 1 winning champion juvenile.
Air Force Blue. Air Force Blue. A really good horse.
His first weanlings have sold for up to $210,000.
In the back, $210,000, Ralph. Thank you.
He's Warfront's best juvenile from a family of champions. A force on the track, a force in the ring. Air Force Blue.
That time at Oaklawn, win a home run. Made for a big night. Bet on your favorite teams at Oaklawn's new race and sports book. Oaklawn, a new level of action, a new level of excitement.
The thermal spring waters our city is named after are known for their legendary healing properties. Their thirst-quenching properties are pretty nice, too. Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's different here. Come see why.
This filly is very well balanced. She's correct. She has a really athletic walk to her. Checks off a lot of boxes that I think a lot of people as breeders and as buyers look for. She's as nice a yearling as we've raised here in 20 years. She's just the total package for me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races. And Muber Maj takes race number 2. Chad Brown, Shadwell Stable, Jose Lezcano. And $4.30. That is not your favorite. So we upset a favorite.
We did.
$4.30.
That's right. Second choice getting home. Why couldn't the second choice win the first race? Why, Greg? Why?
Did you have that $3.25 exacta?
I didn't, but
that's not.
I'm live in the pick 4.
For $1?
Well, it's actually real value when you think
It
about
is.
it in that race. That
It's
it paid
incredible.
$6.50 versus $4.30 because if this horse won, let's put it this way,
It couldn't have been.
What price would the 2 have been if the 1 hadn't been in the race?
Yeah.
$2.40.
Yeah. 6 furlongs coming up in race 3. I wasn't being sarcastic. I thought it was tremendous. Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize it's a huge. You got 50% more on a horse that was like 90% to be second, maybe 95% to be second. If the 1 won, I couldn't agree more with you.
40,000 claiming race. 6 furlongs coming up. It's the start of the Empire 6 next. We're going to get to that in a moment. First, going to preview some of the big 2-year-old races we have coming up that we're going to show you on America's Day at the Races this weekend from Churchill Downs, starting with the Grade 3 Iroquois for the Colts. And Dennis's moments. Wow, did this horse run lights out at Ellis Park in the second start of his career. Really the first race that he ever finished.
I don't think there's any 2-year-old in the country that people are more interested in seeing go forward. Obviously, Dale Romans, who can have a lot of hyperbole for his horses in general, but for good reason in this case. I had hoped that he would run him in the Hopeful, where he would have been very tough. I can't wait to see what this horse does, because based on this race, a pretty exciting horse, Greg.
Did he run too fast, too good, too soon?
Well, I mean, I guess that Dale Romans is saying, I want to give him a little time since that race. He's given him 7 weeks, which is part of the reason he'd want to ship. And I always believe that good horses can run back to big races or even improve on them.
Scabbard, meanwhile, won first time out by 5 lengths at Churchill Downs, and then he had to go up against Greenlight Go in the Saratoga Special. He wound up second in that race for Eddie Keneally.
I'm a big fan of this horse. I think he's run very well. The question with him might be a little bit distance.
By the way, he was known as Noose when he ran in the Saratoga Special. He's now Scabbard.
Yeah, I think some people took offense to the name, and the owner very rightly said, you know, if people are offended, the last thing I meant to do was offend somebody, and he went out right away and changed his name. And I have great respect for him for doing that. It's whether or not somebody agrees. If it's offensive to people, you don't want to offend people. And I've liked this horse's starts. I don't know. Listen, let's be honest. They're all running for second if Dennis's Moment shows up with anything close to his last race. But if not, he's a big player in here.
No question. This will be a lot of fun to see him in action again. We're going to have this race for you live on Saturday. Meanwhile, 2-year-old fillies in the Pocahontas. That will be race 9, preceding the Iroquois, 2-turn mile and a 16th. And British Idiom for trainer Brad Cox. We saw her at Saratoga, daughter of Flashback. She was favored 7-2 in her debut as the favorite, and she beat a 10-horse field.
She was impressive that day. I thought she won very easily. But if I can say something about distance with Scabbard, this is a daughter of Flashback. I know he's a Tappet. I'm going to be surprised when this horse is really effective stretching out at a mile and 16th, because I don't think this race came up super tough, but it's not an easy race.
Yeah, you want to, and off the one sprint effort. Yeah. Meanwhile, Morning Gold has had 2 tries. They've both been routing, but they've both been on turf for Kenny McPeak. So this will be the dirt debut.
I mean, theoretically, you'd think a Morning Line and an Indian Charlie mare, wouldn't you instinctively think this horse has more of a dirt pedigree than turf pedigree? And I mean, he ran huge last time. We saw the 3rd place finisher has come back to win. I can't blame Ken McPeak, because he's running early enough that if he wants to take a shot and try to qualify for the Breeders' Cup Filly Juvenile Turf, he can go back to turf if she doesn't nail the dirt, right?
No, good point. You think Brad Cox's other filly maybe the better shot in there, Portrait, the 3?
I do, don't you? I mean, I thought that
yeah.
race it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like there were some pretty good maidens that ran at Ellis Park this summer.
No question. No question. Loaded weekend stake schedule coming up. We're going to have all that for you this weekend. So whatever plans you had this Saturday, if they weren't watching the show, cancel them.
Yeah.
Or at least make sure you bring a way to watch our show along with you.
The idea that there's anybody that isn't watching our show every single day and watching replays on Mondays and Tuesdays when we're not on, it's just heresy to me. So I don't even consider the possibility that people aren't watching us.
Well, if you don't watch every day, Saturday certainly should be one of those days, because we have a tremendous race program. He was kidding.
I was.
By the way, one of the people who does that every single day, my mom. Every single day.
Does she?
She's
That's awesome.
Watching right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's nice. My mom watches
little
sometimes
shout out
too.
to
That's
Mom.
awesome. What does she do while she's watching? My mom does needlepoint.
She doesn't pay attention probably and does the dishes or something. That's where she's not even listening right now. As you mentioned, we saw some great 2-year-olds at Saratoga. I think many would say this is probably the leader in the clubhouse right now. Greenlight Go. for Jimmy Jerkins.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to like about this horse? He wins his first race on the front end, surprises Jimmy Jerkins, right? Gets a big figure, and he comes back and he comfortably rates, behind some pretty good horses, and he goes out to that big win, and this is Saratoga Special. I'm a huge fan. I guess the Connections didn't want to run the slop up in the Hopeful, and he would have met a pretty tough horse in there named Basin, but I guess we'll see him in the Hopeful, and how can you not like him?
Jimmy Jerkins has said, first of all, physically, he looks like a 4-year-old. He mentally, just from a maturity standpoint, acts like a 4-year-old. He said there is nothing like a 2-year-old about him in any way. So that's a huge positive for him as well. He's apparently developed very quickly. And again, as you talked about, showed a new dimension in the Saratoga Special. It seems like he can do anything.
Right. I mean, Jimmy Jerkins said, I'm not worried about him rating, but how many times have we heard trainers say that about a horse that wins wire to wire? Oh, I'm sure he can sit behind horses, and they sit behind horses, and they back up and run 6th. Jimmy was dead right, and I'd love to see this horse do well for him.
Meanwhile, Basin, Steve Asmussen, he had never won the Saratoga, or the Hopeful, I should say. He had 3 runners in that race, and they were fairly high on this runner of that trio.
Yes, did he get a perfect trip? Absolutely. But he dominated the field. And it's not as though you say, well, he just liked a wet track, right? I thought he ran huge when he won his prior race. He beat a horse named 3 Techniques, who, when breaking his maiden that weekend, closing weekend, Sarah, was one of the more impressive maiden breakers the whole meet for Jeremiah Englehart and Bill Parcells. How can you not like this horse?
Lot to like. Liam's Map, by the way, the first Grade 1 winner for Liam's Map.
Really? A lot more will be coming for him. I love Liam's Map. He had exactly what I think you want in a stallion, right? He had speed and he had stamina. Has to be. I mean, it's his first crop. How many, unless he won out in California, right? Or he won the Spinaway, there's only been 4 Grade 1s
First winner,
for
period, for Liam's Map.
Really?
Yeah.
So when he broke his maiden in Saratoga. I like Liam's Map as a sire, though. Speed, stamina, and talent.
Collusion Illusion, another talented 2-year-old. This is a horse out on the West Coast. Won the Best Pal in start number 2 of his career, son of Twirling Candy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say they made a right choice in skipping the Del Mar Futurity, but in that debacle, he might have come back and won this race. I imagine they're waiting for the Chandelier, the front runner. That's the Colt race at Santa Anita. I mean, he's improved from his first to second start, ran a big fig winning here. Good trip or not, what's not to like?
Yeah, 83 buyer speed figure for 2-year-old now, who is both his starts. He's been in stalking positions. He won at 5 furlongs, now 6. And now we'll see if he has the ability to stretch out. A lot of exciting 2-year-olds right now.
That's what I love about this time of the year. I love watching the 2-year-olds, and we've seen some very good ones. We'll obviously see them in stakes, the Champagne, the Frazette, the race at Keeneland, California as well. But also, we're going to start seeing some good maidens. We talked about the one that won for Keir McLaughlin yesterday. Saw a nice maiden race this weekend. And as the year progresses, I'm looking forward to seeing the 2-year-olds.
Back here at Belmont, 3rd race is coming up. And again, it is the start of the Empire 6. There's a 97,000 plus pool in the jackpot carryover. 4 to 5 on Hawaiian Noises Wesley Ward runner, who was beat at 2 to 5 last start.
You know, I have so much trouble with Wesley Ward because it seems like sometimes they win or run well when they don't make sense, and sometimes when they make sense, they run kind of lousy. This horse ran a very credible race in what was ultimately a pretty tough field last time. It was also at Belterra, the old River Downs, right on the. You ever been there? Right on the
No, I've not.
It's right on
but
the,
I would
the
like
river,
to.
Ohio River. Oh, it's great. Yeah, I used to go there when I used to go to Keeneland for the meet. I don't know what to think. Haven't seen the horse since May, but I'll tell you one thing: the money's showing. When the money shows, it's often smart.
No, that's true. And then we also have the horse who ran 2nd to Chancelot, who out of that race would go on to run one of the most remarkable races we've seen all year in the Amsterdam. He came back as favorite, and he did not show up at all.
He was horrendous last time. The one thing I'll say is he's going to be the inside speed. That's the one clench. And I think we have a track that's kind inside speed. And also, and I wonder if you have a thought on this, Greg. It strikes me, sort of broke his maiden to maiden 30,000. Off his last race, couldn't you have seen Jason Service riding this horse here at Monmouth for much less than $40,000? Now, maybe he says, well, he did run 2nd to Chancelot, but he's saying, I don't want to lose him. Or if I do, I want a few dollars. I thought that was a positive sign. Maybe I'm overthinking it. You know what I mean?
No, but conversely, when do you see a Jason Service horse run the race that he ran last time out?
Never. He was brutal. He was absolutely brutal. And if that race doesn't turn to be a complete throwout, then he has no chance in this race.
He's 9-5. There's big question marks with this runner right here, Clench. 8-5 on the board. Meanwhile, Hardcore Folklore, 9-2. It's Dominic Schettino off the claim, and this horse has been in very sharp form of late.
I mean, yeah, does he have to get a little faster to win? Maybe. But how can you knock a horse that's won 4 of his last 6 starts? And if you look at really his dirt form, he's basically 4 for 6 with a second and a third. He shows up every time and arguably improves with every race.
And it doesn't matter
where,
what kind of racetrack it is, where it is. He brings his track with him. The surface can be muddy, fast. It doesn't matter.
And I'll tell you something else. The possibility exists that the 1 Clench and the 4 Hawaiian Noises, hook up. And if they, in fact, hook up and things get a little bit hot, he'll be sitting in the perfect spot to run them down.
9-2. He's in incredibly sharp form. Can Dominic Schettino keep him there? He's 4 for 10 lifetime. There's I think with Clench, there's major question marks. With the 4, there's major question marks. With Hardcore Folklore, I don't think there's big question marks, right? Just, is he good enough?
I completely agree. That's the one question. And he could get a good setup for him. Do you think the 5 Absentee is a little bit interesting? He was awful last time. So was Clench. He's got back races. I mean, look at his race in the slop off the turf on May 12th. Look at his race last October at Parks. He ran second behind Master of Mischief. I know it's a 3-horse field, but Master of Mischief was very impressed in winning the Remsen and was one of the favorites for the Triple Crown Chase before he got injured in his first start in the Holy Bull. His last race is obviously a concern, but he's also 11-1.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes you kind of scratch your head. What happened there?
Right, I agree.
But aside from that, if that race didn't exist, what would he be in here?
Well, right, here's
4-1?
Right, and if we're forgiving Clench's last race, why can't you forgive his I mean, I'm not saying maybe you don't, but if you say, well, why would I not dismiss race? And he's a huge price, whereas Clench is going to be probably in this 8-5 to 2-1 range.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, he's very interesting in this spot, no question.
I tell you, Clench is a huge favorite in the pick 3, and he is the second choice in the doubles. Double money came in on Wesley Ward, and it is coming in now with Hawaiian Noises as well. Means he must be working well.
And by the way, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but in the 5th race, a horse that used to be with Jason Service, who'd been in amazingly sharp form, and then didn't run his race at Saratoga last start, H-Man, now in a different barn. Another interesting scenario. What do you do with that horse?
He went out the back door for me. My question is, why did they claim him for 40? Wow, big crowd.
Jose Lizcano.
All Michael Dubbs friends.
When you wear those silks, it's usually a crowded group.
Yeah, that's it. Right. You wear the Michael Dubbs silks, and everybody wants to be your friend. Michael quickly got him away from those people.
Sorry about that, Jose. One of the good guys in the game, does so much here for the backstretch workers with the Anna House that he helped build right on Hempstead Turnpike.
Yeah, he is so instrumental in that, moving it on to Saratoga as well, and donated so much of his time and efforts into doing that. He has been first or second in the owner's title in Saratoga for over 10 years every year. Either won it or finished second, which is a remarkable achievement when you think about it.
That's incredible.
I mean, how hard it is to go year to year, because everybody stakes it up in Saratoga. Some of us more often than not, but everybody's going to have a bag, whether you're a rider or a trainer, everybody invariably will have a subpar year up there. Yet Michael's horses deliver year in and year out. It's quite an achievement.
Rivalry there with Klarovich?
Well,
are they okay on speaking terms?
Oh, no.
After Saratoga?
Michael and Seth Klarman, no, they get along very well. And as Michael always said, if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm very happy that it's Seth. And Michael, I think, respects how much Seth puts into the game. But no, it's a very friendly rivalry. And I think Seth feels the same way when he lost to Michael 2 years ago. If I had to lose to somebody, why not him?
Post break coming up here for this Empire 6. So even money on the 4. I think we both agree. Even money, no thanks.
I would never bet him at that. Oh, no, I don't particularly love this horse, but I'm so gun shy around here because when money like this, did you ever imagine that he would be even money in here? I mean, I'm not sure how much I trust the morning line, but I bet on the morning line he was nowhere close to even money. He was 2-1 and the one was 9-5. The double money poured in. Probably run to it, but I wouldn't bet him.
Yeah, he wasn't even the favorite.
No. Did you
now
think
he's
he'd be
4 to
favored
5.
here? He wasn't favored in the pick 3, but a favor in the double.
Well, we're going to see Clench first. distant second to Chancelot, who would come back and run one of the biggest performances we've ever seen in the history of 3-year-old sprinting.
Maybe the best ever. I mean, it's
121 buyer. Came back and did not run a step as a beaten favorite.
He's going to have to gun from the inside as Jose looks for 3 in a row. Inside speed's been tough, but he needs to bounce back in a big way.
Booby trap. 2101.
Yeah, no comment on that. Here's my biggest problem with this horse. He was claimed from Mike Maker to Safi Joseph to Danny Gargan. With all due respect to AC Avila, that's a tough threesome.
Here's Hardcore Folklore, as we said, in such incredibly sharp form off the claim for Dominic Schettino.
Looks to take advantage potentially of a pace duel.
And Hawaiian Noises, Wesley Ward, 4-5 favorite.
He looks to stalk and pounce, and the money's saying he's going to run today.
5 horses absentee, coming off a 5th place effort, but Andy made a case, 11-1.
Draw out his last race, and you're talking about a horse that has a much better chance than this current 11-1.
And Trance rounds things out.
Comes off the claim for Greg DePrima.
I'm stepping out. Acacia Courtney's coming in next.
But you'll come back to see me before I leave? Thank God. I can't miss you for that long, Greg. Saratoga, America's Day at the races. I'll remember I'm at Belmont Park soon. It continues. A lot of great action to come. Acacia Courtney is going to join me on the desk in just a moment as America's Day at the races at a beautiful, windy Belmont Park continues.
Flatter. This prolific son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're gonna go traveling.
Hip 621, a filly from the first crop of champion sprinter Run Happy, out of a stakes-winning half-sister to Chasing Bubbles, winner of the New York Stallion Series Stakes. This New York-bred filly will be offered by Woods Edge Farm at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome to America's Day at the Races. So happy to have you with us. We'll be bringing you a ton of great racing action here from beautiful Belmont Park, including a little bit later on in today's 7th race, Pause for the Cause, the morning line favorite, and On Our Way, who's been 4 out of 5 and it starts at Belmont in the money, doing very well over this racetrack. And of course, America's Day at the Races brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net today. Again, so happy to have you with us. It's a little bit breezy here at Belmont Park today, but we have an 8-race card. So we started at 3 p.m., a couple of races under our belt already. I'm Acacia Courtney, going to be hosting you for a little bit, and pleased to be joined by Naira handicapper and analyst Andy Sterling. How's it going, Andy?
It's going well.
Good.
Give a little break to Greg.
Yes, Greg gets a little breather, a little lunch break, and then I'll be back reporting later. So we're doing little musical chairs, but in the meantime, we'll be having some fun, I'm sure.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
We'll take a look at the field for our feature race coming up a little bit later. That is race number 7, and we talked about a couple of interesting horses that we will be seeing. Pause for the cause, switching back to the main track. On our way, first off the claim. It's a compact field, Andy, but it's an interesting field.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Pause for the Cause with John Velasquez do on the inside, because outside of her is Legendary, who's the other speed. Now, they both have enough speed to be involved in the pace, and don't know you really want to give the rail up on this track. Obviously, On Her Way needs a little bit more, needs a little bit of pace to close into. This was the good Pause for the Cause. This was in the Iroquois here last October. I feel as if Pause for the Cause ran the race she ran it here, she'd be 2-5 today in a virtual cinch. But I just feel like the Pause for the Cause that ran a year ago is not the one we've seen in her recent races.
Beat that day in the 2018 Iroquois by Highway Star, and maybe trying to get back to some of that past form. We'll be bringing you races 3 to 8 here at Belmont Park. It's fast and firm. Not too many scratches on the card today as well, which always makes it interesting. And here is the field for our next up live race, and that will be race number 3. You do have 4 to 5 currently on the number 4 Hawaiian Noises. You see Wesley Ward, you see John Velasquez, and you see the early money.
Yeah, you know, we often talk about the phrase, they knew. It's whoever they are, they seem to be very smart. And there was no way to predict realistically that Hawaiian Noises would be a heavy favorite. In fact, if you look at the multi-race bets, and I think we do a lot to try to determine what the ultimate final prices of horses will be, in pick 3's, Clench, the one who was the slight morning line favorite, was 50%, or was actually about 2/3 of the price that Hawaiian Noises is. Yet in the double from 2 to 3, Hawaiian Noises is a real favorite, and the board says Hawaiian Noises is going to run today off the long layoff.
Very interesting. Hawaiian Noises ran in the grade 3 Lexington. Ran a little bit early and then was beaten double-digit lengths. And Clench, as you said, the slight morning line favorite, hasn't seen the winner's circle in a while. But taking that drop in class, and you alluded to the inside a little bit. Looking at some of the races over the last couple of days, how important is that inside position?
And since we've gotten back to Belmont, we had rain last Friday in the sloppy track, so I wouldn't count that. And the 3 dry track days and today as well, looking at our second race, the inside's been very strong in the main track, and we saw that a lot during the summer as well, so it didn't come out of nowhere. Jose Lezcano, who's already having a great day with 2 wins in the card in just 2 races, I think he's going to have to try to protect that inside position and go for the front. The question is, what happened last time, and can he bounce back from that basically horrendous performance?
A very poor showing as the favorite in Starter Allowance Company at Saratoga last time out, coming in for the $40,000 tag today. You look at the race 2 starts back, and it was a well-beaten second behind Chancelot, who was just running off the screen at that time as well. And again, knocking on the door in some of those races, but I feel like a horse like this who's just been maybe a touch more consistent at the right company.
Well, it's not as though his losses, he's got the 10 starts and 1 win and 5/3. He's never been a short price until last time and his maiden win. So it's not like he's losing races he was supposed to win. The question is, what happened last time? But I wonder, he ran so badly, Jason Service could have dropped him further, so maybe running for 40 is a vote of confidence that something, in fact, did go wrong last time.
Maybe too bad to be true last time out, as we have the number 5 Absentee going in. One more horse to load, and we'll send it up to the voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus, for the call of race number 3.
They're all in line. They're off. Clench out sharply for the front. Hawaiian Noises came out in second and is 2 lengths behind early on. Break of another 2.5 to Absentee, followed on the inside by Hardcore Folklore and a 3-deep trip for Trance up the backstretch. The trailer is Booby Trap, who's 8 lengths from front-running Clench. Clench and Jose Lezcano lead the pack into the far turn through an opening quarter mile of 22.73 seconds. Hawaiian Noises closes that gap now to 1.25 lengths as they round the far turn. It's another 3 lengths more to Absentee on the outside of Hardcore Folklore, who's 4th and coming under a ride. Break of another 2 back to Booby Trap, who's now in 5th, but still about 6 lengths behind. Trance is the trailer as they arrive at the top of the stretch. Clench taken on by Hawaiian Noises here after a 45.39 half, but Clench just keeps on going. Hawaiian Noises got close, but he's now 2 lengths behind. And then comes Absentee on the outside and Hardcore Folklore. They're coming down to the 16th pole, and it's Clench in charge. And Clench is going to give Jose Lezcano 3 in a row today. Hawaiian Noises was second, Absentee was third, and then Hardcore Folklore.
3 in a row for Jose Lascano, and a beautiful, perfect trip for Clench for owner Michael Dubb. Quite the group there here at Belmont Park today.
Can one of those people with a cowboy hat lend a cowboy hat to Michael Dubb for the
Oh,
pit winner circle? Because if they do,
really
I'm getting a copy of it. I'm blowing it up, and I'm putting it on my wall in my apartment. You know, it's funny. If you're at Belmont Park, and Acacia and I are laughing, the PA was very loud when the gate broke, but it was almost like a precursor of what happened, right? Because there was this explosion here when the gate broke, and Jose, I mean, you couldn't have gotten Clench out faster. I mean, the race was almost over at the start.
It was almost like he had almost beat the gate a little bit. The second the gates opened, he was there in the front. And Hawaiian Noises, who was still your favorite 6-5, was just trying the entire time and never able to make up any ground on it.
And it's funny because maybe we could actually show a pan of the start just to sort of show you how well the horse broke. I think he broke much sharper than the others. It wasn't totally like the second race, but not dissimilar. And we're seeing horses taking advantage of the inside. I'm not trying to say Clench wasn't best, but clearly having that inside position and speed was very, very beneficial to both Clench and the second winner. And you'll just see this break. I mean, he just blows out of the gate and the race is over. Right? I mean,
really, yeah, hustles right to the front. Very, very smart move. And we've talked about this a little bit over the past couple of days. When a rider gets in a good groove as well, which Jose Lascano absolutely is right now. You could see he knew he had him in the perfect spot there as well.
Right, and it's funny because when you see the close-up we showed of the start, he didn't really break any faster than Hawaiian Noises. He just had more forward speed, and Jose was much more aggressive, and he said, I am not, under any circumstances, letting Hawaiian Noises get in front of me and giving up this rail. I am going to keep the position I have. And listen, John Velasquez felt he was sitting on a strong horse. He's not going to get into a suicidal duel with him. But frankly, if you look at the times, that 22:73 first quarter, that's very, very tepid relative to the other times of this race. He got away with a slow quarter, and the rest was just over.
And that really is the beauty of it when you get a chance to dictate things on your own terms on the front end, which Clench certainly did for owners Michael Dubb, David Simon, Bethlehem Stables & Co. Here's those cowboy hats in the winner's circle. You love to see that. Owners like Michael Dubb, who seem to always bring out a great crowd and a great cheering squad and just so much enthusiasm into every race, no matter the conditions.
I agree. I mean, Michael owns a few horses by himself, but it seems much more often than not he's got groups involved, and this is great. Now, I don't know, you know, you're not down there, Acacia, to find out who this crew is with Michael. I'd love to know who it is because I see a lot of them have shirts with the same thing, so it's interesting who Michael brought out, but everybody having a great time.
Looks like a very happy crowd, and rightfully so there in the winner's circle. A win's a win, and it certainly was a good one for the #1 Clench, crossing that wire with Jose Lascano getting his 3rd win in a row today. When we come back after this next break on America's Day at the races, we'll talk a little Woodbine. Can Got Stormy beat the boys once again in next weekend's Woodbine Mile?
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit piranhaeat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NYRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Welcome back to America's Day at the races at this great Thursday here at Belmont Park, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We just wrapped up race number 3. It was won by Clench for Mike Dubb, Jason Service, and co. Paid $5.30 to win. Looked the winner every step of the way.
Yeah, Jose Lezcano aggressively making sure to take control in the front end. Was able to slow the first quarter down, and it was over from there.
Beat your horse that went off as the favorite, Hawaiian Noises. As we take a look at what's coming up next in race number 4, we have a mile and a 16th on the turf, a $75,000 maiden claiming event. Couple of scratches there, a couple of late scratches as well, so do take note of that. 2, 7, 8, and 12 are all out. 9 to 5 currently on the layoff. Chad Brown runner, Monkey See, Monkey Do.
Yeah, Monkey See, Monkey Do is coming off an extended layoff for Chad Brown. Has not run since June of 2018, so we're talking about almost exactly 15 months. The Chad Brown barn has great numbers. If you look at their turf maidens coming off year-plus layoffs, it's not a big sample, but 3 for 7, ROI of over $3.50 and 6 hitting the board. So it's reasonable to expect the horses run back to their PPs, and at the end of the day, if Monkey See, Monkey Do can stretch to a mile and 16 and runs back to his last race, probably going to be very tough.
A $310,000 son of Twirling Candy, and there we get another shot of owner Michael Dubb, who just had the win in race 3 with Clench. We were trying to figure out how we might be able to get him in a cowboy hat. Looks like no luck as of yet, but
it's a long meet.
It's a long meet. We
meet.
never know what's going to happen before Belmont is over.
Yeah, I think we get him in a cowboy hat eventually. He's looking at his phone. He's looking at the text I just sent him, which said, "Where's your cowboy hat?"
Uh-oh. See, he doesn't know that he's on camera, and he doesn't know that you'll see if he ignores your text.
God, well, you're known by your company you keep. I hope that's not our president and CEO, Dave O'Rourke, he's got to be with.
We'll take a look at the Woodbine Mile, the America's Best Racing Race of the Week. We'll be bringing it to you here on America's Day at the Races on Saturday. And Got Stormy has been the headliner for quite some time. We'll see if she can beat the boys once again. She did it in the 4-star Dave. But the Woodbine Mile, an illustrious history, which was won in 2018 by Oscar Performance. We'll see who gets the job done this year.
A gate-to-wire winner, Oscar Performance by a length and a half.
As championship fall turf racing kicks off this weekend at Woodbine Racetrack, the Grade 1 Rico Woodbine Mile takes center stage over the acclaimed E.P. Taylor Turf Course. A battery of local and international talent will race for the better part of $1 million and a berth to the Breeders' Cup Championships at Santa Anita Racetrack in California. A trio of Ontario-based competitors seeking that golden ticket were recent rivals in the Play the King Stakes, the major local prep for this Saturday's Classic. The Barb Mitchell-trained Admiralty Pier was a game 5th, and while the Gail Cox-trained El Tormenta was choked off into the stretch, ultimately finishing 4th, it would be the Stronach Stables homebred Silent Poet who emerged in mid-stretch, thundering home with a brilliant track record performance.
And Silent Poet showing no signs of stopping. And Silent Poet wins the Play the King Stakes, hands down.
Admiralty Pier's last victory came in an allowance event at Tampa Bay Downs back in January, and in late 2017 he won the Display Stakes at Woodbine. Samson Farms' El Tormenta was second to Silent Poet in action before the Play the King. Prior to that, he was on the winning end of a duel with another Rico Woodbine Mile rival, scoring a lively win in the Connaught Cup.
El Tormenta on the insides, won the Connaught Cup.
Emmaus started his first 8 contests in Europe before arriving in North America this spring. The Connor Murphy trainee's last win was the kickoff to his 4-year-old UK campaign at Leicester last April in the King Richard III Stakes.
And it's Emmaus who goes on now, leads only narrowly to Don Juan Triumphant, but Emmaus has won.
Unraced at 2 and 3, likely long shot American Guru will deservedly step up in class this Saturday, sporting a very respectable 4 for 6 lifetime versus Solid Allowance Company. Adding to the intrigue, the Mike Doyle trainee is recently 2 for 2 at the distance, including his last time out.
But American Guru continues to keep on giving, and American Guru has dominated.
Awesome Tank is one of 2 fillies lining up this Saturday. The Britain-based athlete made her first start across the pond at Arlington Park, finishing second in the Grade 1 Beverly D. Back in May, it would take a tenacious stretch performance to hold down the Conqueror Stakes at Goodwood.
Awesome Tank leads by a neck as it races up towards the line. Awesome Tank and Ananarium.
And the resilient filly Got Stormy gets the call for conditioner Mark Cassie. She comes into the Autumn Classic peaking after back-to-back wins at Saratoga in August. First in the De La Rose Stakes, and on just 1 week's rest, she was magnificent again, capturing her first Grade 1 tally in the 4-star day.
And Got Stormy, the filly did it!
Making his first start on Canadian soil, American-based Blue Cullen is also coming off 2 straight wins on the New York circuit, the latter being the Lure, the first stakes win of his career.
Blue Cullen, Sacred Life! Blue Cullen and Sacred Life hit it together!
The French-bred, US-based Raging Bull will also make his first start in Canada, hoping to punch his ticket back to the state of his first Grade 1 win last December in the California Classic Hollywood Derby from Del Mar.
Raging Bull has got him!
Unlike a handful of his American foes, Synchrony has been getting accustomed to the grounds at Woodbine since late June. The winner of the Fairgrounds Handicap in February and a strong second in the Monmouth Stakes in May added the local King Edward Stakes to his veteran resume.
And battling on as a mare, Synchrony with the giant strides from last to first. Synchrony wins the King Eddie.
And the 2016 Anticipation Stakes winner, Made You Look, hopes to disrupt the field this Saturday. He'll return to the E.P. Taylor turf for the first time since running in the Charlie Barley Stakes on Queen's Plate Day in 2017. This year's efforts include a 4th in the Forbidden Apple and a 5th in the 4-star Dave last time out. Ladies and gentlemen, the field for the 23rd edition of the Grade 1 $1 Million Rico Woodbine Mile.
A spectacular field for the Woodbine Mile, a spectacular card, really, start to finish. Post time, 5:42 p.m., and we'll bring you the Woodbine Mile here on America's Day at the races on Saturday, which is a Breeders' Cup win and you're in race as well. And we were just talking, Andy, during the package about what a great product Woodbine puts out and a great time at the track as well.
No, it is. They also have some of the best food of any racetrack
They
I've ever been
do.
to.
Yeah,
that,
they do.
that buffet upstairs is
It's
awesome.
So good.
But
So
Woodbine's
good.
a great place. I agree. Enjoyed it there. Been there 5-6 times and always have fun in Toronto, one of the best cities in North America.
The only time I got the chance to the pleasure to go was for the Queen's Plate last year, but certainly not to be outdone by this year's edition of the Woodbine Mile. Great card. Saturday and Sunday, we'll bring you some of those Woodbine races again on America's Day at the races. But we've got a lot more racing for you here at Belmont Park, including the upcoming race number 4, currently 8-5 on the 3. Monkey See, Monkey Do for Chad Brown off of that big layoff. We'll see if he can make his return to the races a winning one. We'll find out when we come back here on America's Day at the races.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. He traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. Now his progeny are hitting the track. His first winners include Saratoga standout Vast, with juveniles selling for over $400,000 and yearlings bringing up to $650,000. The sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We have 2 run-happy yearlings here at Mockmer Hall. We have a colt out of Addison Run in Book 2 and a filly out of Sugar Reef in Book 4. The colt is out of a young graded stakes producing unbridled song mare. The filly is a 10 mover, a great walker. They're good doers, they have great minds, they're easy, they're on themselves, etc. Really, really well put together.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guys gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
It's America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net today. We turn our attention now to race number 4 here at Belmont Park. We're about 13 minutes away, all along the money going to Monkey See, Monkey Do, the layoff runner for Chad Brown, but a pretty good-sized field with some interesting runners as well. Lots of storylines here, Andy.
I agree. This is an 8-horse field, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, where 6 of them are significant contenders. And for any horse to be 8-5 in here, I know it's the Chad Brown factor. I get all that. And I know he has good numbers off long layoffs, but you're still talking about a horse that ran a very creditable race. You see finishing 3rd. And this was an extremely tough maiden race. Hangman's going to make a big run on the outside to get the money. I think Monkey See, Monkey Do ran well in here, but he's been off for 15 months, and there's a lot going on in this race, so I couldn't touch any horse at this short a price in this field.
A little bit tough to swallow as we see the 3 down on the rail, hanging on to finish 3rd in that last race. That was the only race on the turf for him as well, going 7 furlongs at Belmont back in June of 2018. Now coming back has to stretch out to the mile and a 16th, and still looked a little bit green in that race as well. So sometimes horses maybe mentally having a chance to grow up a bit.
Well, yeah, but it's a 15-month layoff, a 15-month layoff.
Of course.
And, you know, it's mile and a 16th. How confident are we he's going to be better with more distance? Why are they running? Are they looking for a spot? He's running for 75,000. He's not in a maiden special weight. There are a lot of questions. The thing is, this is a tough maiden claiming race he came in, so he's a major contender in here. I picked him 2nd. I won't be surprised when he wins, but I think you're supposed to look for a slightly better price in here if you're betting somebody to win, because it's that kind of competitive race.
And perhaps that might be the 5 Higher Authority. First time out for Jason Service, looking for his own double here. First off, the trainer change does take the drop in class. And Andy, I thought this was an interesting stat. You might have seen this as well. First off, the trainer change, not the claim on the turf, with a kind of 61 to 180-day layoff. This barn is just 1 for 17 in the past 5 years.
Yeah, the trainer switches also, and the trainer change, and the claims even with turf routers aren't as strong. But he had a similar switch when he took over a Gary and Mary West horse back of the summer named Power Player. And that horse won a maiden special weight, first time for Jason Service, and improved. And the thing about Jason Service, it's noticeable when he claims in general or takes a horse, they almost always have much more speed. So even though he's not necessarily the absolute speed on paper, looking at it, maybe that's deft. I won't be shocked to see this horse up front or very forwardly placed. He's also not going to be 9-2 at post time. He's a very similar price in the multi-race bets to Monkey See, Monkey Do. So that one will come up, and he's coming down.
And we might see some things even out a little bit there. Manny Franco going to be aboard. You do also have the 11 Looking at Roses, who showed speed last time out, but had pressure the whole way. I think this horse looks a little bit faster on paper maybe than he actually is.
Well, you know, it's a hard thing to judge because he showed speed in a mile and 3/16 race, and while the pace looks pretty fast on paper, that course was extremely firm. Those maidens went just about a second over a track record. So I don't think it was that fast a pace. He still should be forwardly placed here. It's just easier company. Value Engineering won that race, is a very talented Chad Brown runner. So I'm not going to be surprised when just the company gives him the benefit, but he's not that short a price in here, and I don't love when Danny Gargan horses are bigger prices than they look on paper.
Good point there for sure. What about the 9 What's to Blame? Maybe a little bit green last time out, but a very good performance all in all.
Well, he was also herded out by the winner.
Yeah.
There was a long inquiry in that race, and I remember thinking they'd probably leave the winner up, which they did, but it felt like a bit of a 50-50 call. Nothing wrong with his last race. I think he's a player in this race. I just, don't want him at a short price, but he's going to go up from his 3-to-1 odds.
Certainly could see some changes as we get closer, but talking about the pace, what Deft has done in his last 2 races, both on the turf and in that off the turf race, was just run away from the rest of the field and then get caught.
Yeah, I mean, last time was a dirt race, so I'm not even going to make that much of it, though he ran well in there. The time before, he set an honest pace, but the course was very firm. That was late June, and Whiskey Is My Wine, who came back with an improved effort for Jorge Abreu, just ran him down. He didn't run badly in there. The problem is, I still don't think he ran well enough to beat this field, and doesn't he figure to have higher authority kind of hounding him in this race?
Could make things very interesting on the front end as we get a look at the 6th teachable moment. First off the claim for Mike Maker and switching to the turf, and 18-1.
Yeah, I'm going to be betting a few dollars on this horse, and he's actually my 5th choice, but I don't think he's supposed to be close to 20-1. I understand that Chad Brown gave up on him, but he'll drop horse in Saratoga sometimes to win, and they went 5.5, and I think he's better off going longer. In his last race in the turf going long, he lost by a neck to What's to Blame, who's 3-1, and now he's 18-1. And yes, Chad Brown is the top trainer, if not in the world, certainly in this country. But Mike Maker is no slouch either. And 3 Diamonds must have tried to claim him for 40, didn't get him, and they didn't care. They came right back and claimed him for 50. And the 3 Diamonds operation is very sharp.
And no shame from these connections running for a tag either. Hopefully, you'll be able to make some money in this race and the rest of them and play all of the races today and every day with a Naira Bets account. New members earn a $200 new member sign-up bonus by entering promo code LIVE at the sign-up and betting $200 in your first 14 days as a member. Sign up now at NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app. We talked about some very fascinating horses here in this race number 4, and here's our post-parade, beginning with the first-time starter from Barclay Tagg in Bra.
Yeah, he's found himself in a tough spot. Barclay Tagg's finding a lot of tough spots for his first-time starters today, and this one is a first fall from an unraced dam.
The 2 is out. Here's the 3, Monkey See, Monkey Do. We've talked about a bit already.
The favorite, but maybe going to go up a little from the 9-5 odds. Hasn't been out in 15 months, but Chad Brown and ran against good horses in his only turf start.
John Velasquez picking up the mount for the first time as we look at the 4, Deft, speedy horse for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's going to look to go to the lead. How much pressure he's get from others like higher authority or maybe even looking at Roses, we'll see. He's in tough.
The 5 is Higher Authority. Jason Service looking for his own rolling double here.
Yeah, and he's a trainer change Jason Service. Same owners, Gary Mary West, and he's got respectable races, and he figures to be on or near the lead.
20-1 now on the 6 teachable moment for Mike Maker.
I think teachable moment has 1 turf race, his last turf route. It's good enough to contend here. He's back in a turf route, claimed by Mike Maker, and to me, he's a huge overlay. Maybe not likely winner, but a big overlay.
7 and 8 are out. The 9, What's to Blame. Last seen here at Belmont for Christophe Clement.
Listen, he finished just a neck ahead of the aforementioned 6 horse, and he's right now 5-2. He was kind of bumped and hurted out in his last start, and there was a long inquiry. Nothing wrong with his last race. He's a contender off it, but at a short price right now.
Conviction Trade, another first-time starter, also 20-1.
Yeah, this horse is a half to a turf winner, but that horse ran a 67 buyer. There's good turf in the some turf in the second family, I should say. Tough race, though, first time out.
And the number 11, Looking at Roses, broke off from the pony already.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how forward he is as they're going shorter here, and there's some real speed in here, but he's taken a significant drop in class for Danny Gargan.
That is your field for race number 4 here. We've got some exciting races coming up this weekend, though, Andy, as well. We talked about Woodbine. What about the field for the Pebbles? Eye in the Sky, Seek and Destroy, Blowout. Very interesting horses to look forward to, those fillies.
I agree. This is one where Chad Brown has 2 players in Blowout and Seek and Destroy, but there are a lot of others to take money with Eye in the Sky stretching out and East coming in from Europe for Christophe Clement.
As we take a look at the Wild Applause at the end of June here at Belmont, where Blowout won over her stablemate Nova Soul and her other stablemate Seek and Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, Seek and Destroy kind of had the run of the race because the pace wasn't that hot, and I know she ran well up in Canada last time, and there are some good horses that came out of the race that she was in Canada, including the Virginia Oaks winner, I believe finished 4th. But Blowout was very good in here, and I did not like Blowout's last effort in the late class where she set a slow pace, but I think getting back to a 1-turn mile will bring out the best in Blowout.
And let's not forget, it was a very rainy edition of the Lake Placid as well. As we take a look at Eye in the Sky, dark as well. Eye in the Sky winning the Galway last time out at Saratoga.
Yeah, Eye in the Sky has turned into a very good turf sprinter.
Yes.
But now Mark Cassie's going to try to stretch her out to a mile, and I don't blame him for trying to do it because there's more opportunities going longer. But I think her closing kick gets muted going a mile, and will be surprised if she's as effective going a mile as she is sprinting. If she is, she's probably the worst to beat.
Bring up some great points there. That really does change the makeup of her overall running style as well as potentially the makeup of the race, because sometimes we see it closing sprinters don't fare as well going longer when they do stretch out in those turf races. Maybe they're more forwardly placed. Maybe they're taken out of their comfort zone a little bit
No,
more.
I agree, and they've got to go longer, and has to do it arguably against some pretty tough horses. Now, she met a tough field in the Galway and was absolutely best in there. I'm not knocking her. I just think the distance is the equalizer, and I also think that the European Invader East, who finished third in not a great running of the French Guineas back at Longchamp, but we're talking about Group 1. She's a Group 1 contender over there, finished second in newspaper record in our Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last year, and I think East coming in for Christophe Clement, if she doesn't need a race, could be very tough in this race.
And she's shown, as you pointed out, that she could ship easily before when she ran so well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. I watched that Guineas race as well. I thought she ran really strongly in that performance.
No, I think she ran extremely well in there. In fact, if she really didn't have cover until they got into the stretch. She was 3 wide without cover, and those Europeans, they always want to get cover, and she was out in the clear. They sort of tucked her in the stretch, but by the time they got her out to do running, the horse who won the race was in front of her, just had too big an advantage. So it was a very good effort, and even though it wasn't a great running of the French Guineas, I think it might be stronger than the field that we're seeing in the Pebbles, with all due respect.
We've seen some European horses come and fare very well here at Belmont, just looking to last weekend as well. And that's one of 2 runners for Christophe Clement, who will also have Feel Glorious in a nice rendition of the Pebbles. That'll go as race 10 at 5:57 this weekend here on America's Day at the Races. As we turn our attention back here to Belmont today on this nice and breezy Thursday afternoon, taking a look at the number 5 Higher Authority in those Gary and Mary West, now very recognizable Silks, making his first start for Jason Service. Has had 5 races so far, the first time dropping in for a tag. And looking at that Ellis race again, Andy, the question about this one, it seems like didn't really have as much of a kick last time out as some others did. Maybe didn't fare on the course, or what do you think was the thought process
Well, it's a funny race because from a Buyer speed figure standpoint and Timeform US, they have it a much better race than the prior 2 races. Now, the 3rd place finisher, Embellisher, has come back to New York and didn't do well, albeit in the very tough Good Governance maiden race at Saratoga. So I don't know how strong it was, but it was a race that ultimately collapsed. So maybe you could argue he's much closer to the pace. And at the end of the day, one of the reasons I picked him, and I think a lot of people like him, is he's switching to Jason Service. I will say on the board right now, he's very tepid. I mean, he's almost the same price in the multi-race bets as the number 3 horse, but he's not taking any money. In fact, he's gone up from when we talked about him earlier.
5-1 right now on the board. Manny Franco going to be in the saddle, who's been in a good groove the last couple days as well. Had some nice runners over the last few days. Think of a stakes winner for Jason Service on Sunday as well. What do you do with looking at Roses on the outside? We talked about this one maybe having a little bit more speed, and we talked about monkey see, monkey do. How do you think the outside post is going to make this one set up?
I don't think it'll matter at all. It's the 8 post. It's a dog leg going in the first turn. So I imagine Kendrick will look to get out and probably be sitting a stalking third. So I don't think the post is going to affect this horse. Listen, off his last race, he's a major contender here. He's Danny Gargan. His horses are running incredibly well, if not since being in Saratoga, even longer than that. So I wouldn't dismiss this horse. I don't love him because I don't know how much running he really did last time. And sometimes turf races have what I like to call the smush factor. They bring the fields together because they don't really do much running for the first 3/4 of the race, and then they sprint to the wire. So it's hard to lose by extreme distances, and we have no other turf race to judge him by. But I'm not going to be surprised when he runs well in here and wins. I just prefer others.
Let's not forget that horse races are herd animals at their core. So who did you end up taking? You took the 5.
Well, I put the 5 on top, but in my betting, I think the number 6 Teacher Moment's a ridiculous overlay in here. I bet a couple dollars to win. I put him second in some exactas, and I put him third in some tries as well. So I'm going to try to get him somehow in the number to try to make money in this race. And I'm smart enough to be alive with short price in the pick 4 with the 3, 5, 6, 9, and 11.
I like it. Starting to load in. Teachable Moment at 23-1. First off the claim for Mike Maker. You don't see that very much. You still have Monkey See, Monkey Do as your favorite, as we have the number 10 first-time starter, Conviction Trade. A little bit hesitant to go into the gate.
Probably saw the PPs of the horses he's running against and said,
Probably like, what am I
"Couldn't you
doing
found
here?
me an easier spot
This
for my
is what
first
I have
race?"
to do. There he goes in. One more to load, and that'll be the number 11 Looking at Roses, and we'll send it up to Larry Colmus for the call of race 4.
They're all in line. They're off. Monkey See, Monkey Do out for the early lead with Deft and Higher Authority, Flashing Speed, and Teachable Moment to the outside. Now moving up into third position. Looking at Roses sits back in fifth, 5 from the front. What's to Blame is next by another 3. Then Conviction Trade, and a long way last is Brahe, the trailer. So up the backstretch they go, and Deft has taken command here. Leads it by almost 2 lengths over Teachable Moment. Monkey See, Monkey Do is third on the inside. 23.16 was the opening quarter mile. And then it's a well-held Higher Authority racing on the inside, needing a spot to go right to the inside of Looking at Roses up the backstretch. What's to Blame is just 4.5 lengths behind as they take close order here. It's another 4.5 to Conviction Trade and 8 to Brahe. So they continue their journey toward the far turn with Deft in front, 3/4 of a length. Teachable Moment on the outside is second. Monkey See, Monkey Do third. Looking at Roses goes up on the outside, fourth. Higher Authority fifth. What's to Blame dropping back a bit, sixth on the inside. Still about 5.5 behind. Conviction Trade's getting a bit closer, and Brahe at the back, 46.25 was that half mile around the far turn. Deft by a neck. Teachable Moment on the outside, draws up alongside, 2 lengths back to Looking at Roses. Conviction Trade is coming wide as they make their way to the top of the stretch. It is Deft in front, the leader by a length and a half over Teachable Moment. Down the outside, Conviction Trade is now taken third, trying to gain some ground. What's to Blame is fourth on the inside. Deft in front, coming down to the final 16th and lost the rider there. Deft fell just before the 16th pole, and it will be Conviction Trade who ends up the winner here over Teachable Moment. What's to Blame in Brahe?
The number 10 first-time starter, Conviction Trade, gets up in time. We do not have any information immediately on the number 4, Deft, but we will bring that to you as we find it. We'll take a break and come back with some updates here on America's Day at the races. Stick with us. We'll be back in a few moments. Greg Wolf will take over here on the desk.
He's got a lot of the physical traits that Run Happy's stamping his foals with. He's a big horse. He's very well balanced, and he looks precocious and fast.
He's got lots of bone, very correct, and a big walk, and very smart head to him. He's very intelligent colt. Temperament as well. My horse has a beautiful temperament. He lies down in the stall every day, and just a cool horse to be around.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the races, Greg Wolf back in for Acacia Courtney, along with Andy Serling. Our show brought to you by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We just saw the start of the late pick 5 and unfortunate incident in that stretch run with Deft for Rudy Rodriguez and Junior Alvarado, trying to get an update on Junior. as soon as possible. We have heard that Junior Alvarado has stood up, so that is good news. Any more we will bring along as soon as we hear. In the meantime, a first-time starter, conviction trade. Wins for Jorge Abreu and Jose Lizcano having a big afternoon.
He's won the first 4 races on today's card, and obviously doing a lot of things right. And this first-time starter, not meeting an easy field, did not break particularly sharply, circled the field to get it done, and it's not like anybody else was doing much closing. This was a terrific performance, and of course ran down Teachable Moment, the long shot we talked about before, who was a preposterous overlay at 24-1.
$50 horse here in the 4th from Belmont. First time out, and was facing some horses who'd shown some real ability in prior turf races.
Yeah, no, I agree. This was a very tough maiden 75 claimer. Virtually nobody showed up at here at all of any of the shorter priced horses. Now, clearly incident in the race affected Deft, but Monkey See, Monkey Deuce had a perfect trip and backed up. Higher Authority, similar situation to number 5. Who's to Blame was a sort of insignificant close at the end, and Looking at Roses had nothing as well. Good luck if you're alive in either the pick 5 or the pick 4.
5th race starts the late pick 4 at 6.5 furlongs, New York bred. Allowance optional claiming field here, and Zonic opens up as the favorite, who I actually liked a lot in this spot here. Faced T Loves a Fight last time out. Binkster, who was in very sharp form over the summer, ran 3rd behind those horses, and he might be sharp back to sprinting. He was sprinting last start and showed good ability.
Yeah, listen, I don't love Zonic, but with all due respect, because I think he's somewhat pace dependent. And we're looking at a track, and I know they've been short-priced winners in our 2 dirt races, but it does feel like inside speed has been pretty tough. Now, this race, the inside speed is Sudden Surprise, who on paper's tough to like, but the track may help him out in here, and Zonic does not have the right style for this racetrack. That doesn't mean he can't win.
No question. And we'll go through this entire field coming up in just a little bit. Of course, the great Run Happy, he is continuing to be an absolute hit at auction with his runners early on. Here he is at Claiborne Farm. He stands for $25,000, and the early response to his runners has just been sensational.
I mean, incredible. 4 horses are sold at Keeneland for an average price of over $500,000. Remarkable. It's a bargain at $25,000. Well, you're getting 20 times what he sold, and that's pretty remarkable. And the average price is over $400,000 in general for all the yearlings that's been sold.
$700,000 for hip number 551 at session 3 of the Keeneland September yearling sale. 4 of them hitting $4,000 or higher. Pretty incredible stuff from Run Happy, who continues to get off to just a tremendous start here early on at stud. Well, he continues, as we mentioned, to produce in the sales ring as we await his first runners to hit the racetrack in 2020. The buzz for Run Happy, it is real. And after what he accomplished on the racetrack, it is easy to see why. He was a special horse who made the wait for that once-in-a-lifetime horse for Jim Mackingvale well worth it.
Run Happy was going to be the last horse I ever owned. And I was getting out of the business. I had so many disappointments and heartbreaks and lost so much money at it. And then came Run Happy. So I guess the lesson there is persistence, never give up.
His performance in the Breeders' Cup Sprint was one that people will talk about for years to come. I mean, it was another, yet again, freaky performance, set the track record. The way he did it was pretty incredible.
He won at Keeneland, he won at Saratoga.
Run Happy!
He won at Santa Anita, he won at several of the legendary places in horse racing.
Run Happy is simply super! He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu!
What a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career. We couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there.
We put him in stall number 1 for a reason. We have a lot of confidence in this horse. We think he has all the capabilities and characteristics that you kind of look for in a great stallion. You know, he had the speed, he had the form, he had the freaky talent, the athleticism, and he's really thrown it in his foals and yearlings. So We're over the moon with what we've seen. We feel like we're in a great spot, and now it's up to the offspring to prove it.
I'm looking forward to his first winner and hopefully his first greatest stakes winner. So we're going to have a lot of our own Run Happies. We campaign ourselves, and obviously lots of other people have Run Happy. So we're really looking forward to see if he can pass on his brilliance to these horses. We have 4 Run Happy yearlings, and we hope to buy some more at the sale. So hopefully we'll end up with 10 or 12 by next year. We decided to stay in for the majority share of Run Happy. So Run Happy is still part and parcel of our family. We think about him every day, and he's just, he's a champion to all of us.
He has been a big hit at Studden again. Next year, we're going to see Run Happy's runners hit the racetrack 2020, win at Saratoga in an open maiden special rate race. And there's a $100,000 bonus on the line, a little extra incentive to get a Run Happy in your barn.
You know, Run Happy was just overshadowed because he was a 3-year-old the same year as American Pharoah. And it was kind of hard to be a 3-year-old that year and get real attention, justifiably so because of American Pharoah. But at the end of the day, his win in what was the King's Bishop and now the Allen Jerkins on Travers Day, the day American Pharoah lost, may have been the most impressive race any 3-year-old ran in the country that year.
5th race is coming up. It kicks off our late pick 4 at 6.5 furlongs. That is a look at the Caretaker. Used to be with Kieran McLaughlin for a long, long time. And now with Ray Handel. 7-2 on the board. Manny Franco. And here's a look at him in action.
He was down on the inside. Now, this was one of those days in Saratoga when the inside actually may have been okay. So I don't want to say he had a big disadvantage being the rail, but I would say he had a big disadvantage because Tribeca wired the field in a relatively speaking moderate pace, especially the first quarter. So I think he ran very well in there, but he is a horse that's probably done his best running up in Saratoga. If you look at the last couple of years, Ray Handel does a great job, but so does Kieran McLaughlin. I don't know. He's a player in here.
7-2. Meanwhile, on the outside, 5-1 on Spiteful Kitten. It's Linda Rice, Jose Lizcano. She's got the right rider on board today.
Yeah, I could say so. I'll stop that train. I picked Spiteful Kitten on top in here. I just thought he could be in a good position, maybe as the second speed and kind of stalking. And I liked his dirt race before the layoff. And I think Linda, well, she's smart. She sort of breaks her horses up. And suddenly says, you know, this one, I don't want to compete during the summer with them. And I'll give a little time off and come back in the fall and into the winter.
5-1, Spiteful Kitten. Trained by Linda Rice. She's one of those trainers that when you see her name in the past performances, you always expect a big effort. Linda Rice, year in and year out, one of the best trainers on the East Coast, and a big part of her success has come utilizing the rewards of the lucrative New York bred program.
Almost always a top 5 trainer on the NYRA circuit, Linda Rice was the Saratoga Meets leading trainer in 2009, and she credits much of her success to the New York breds in her stable.
The New York Breeders' Program is a tremendous program.
So on opening day of the 151st meet at Saratoga Racecourse, no one was surprised to see Rice saddling the only New York bred in an open company allowance race.
And it's Vincento and Potomac out well.
Bettors let the New York bred go off at odds of 10-1, but the 6-year-old was sent to the lead early, then held off 2 late challengers.
And Vincento holds on 3/4 of a length on the wire.
Vincento's owner collects more than $50,000 for the win. Now you'll understand why Linda Rice buys New York breds for her clients.
It's an A other than, which is the benefit of having a New York bred because he's made $380,000, most of those in New York Big Company, and then today he came back and won an A other than, an open company race with a $92,000 purse on it, and that's what keeps owners in the game, and that's what we try to do with the New York Bred program.
Linda Rice utilizing this, one of the best state-bred programs in the entire country.
I think Linda Rice is not just one of the sharpest trainers in New York, but one of the sharpest trainers in the game. Not just because she's a sensational trainer and her operation does a great job, but she's very, very crafty. You talk about waiting with this horse, not wanting to run all summer, and dividing her horses up by the times of the year. Linda Rice, she's a success because she's super sharp.
We'll see how Spiteful Kitten does here this afternoon. An overlay right now at 5-1 from a 3-1 morning line. Zonic, meanwhile, remains your favorite in here, and there is not a ton of pace in this race. Meanwhile, we told you Junior Alvarado did get up with more on what happened back in race number 4. Let's go to Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. I spoke to Dr. Sarah Hinchcliffe, one of the track veterinarians here at the New York Racing Association, and unfortunately the number 4 Deft did suffer a catastrophic right front injury. So that is the update on that horse. But the good news is that jockey Junior Alvarado was able to get up and walk off on his own accord. So he is okay, which is the positive news there. Certainly condolences to the connections of the 4 Deft.
All right, Acacia's sad news. Tough to hear that, but it is good that Junior Alvarado is okay. And we will take a break. We'll be back. We have more coming up. We'll get to the post-parade for the 5th race when we return. Paula Duke is stepping in for Andy Serling after a short timeout.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
She's just a very obvious, very strong, well-made filly, great bone and great substance. A very easy filly to like, a very easy filly to get along with, and I would say be a trainer to like.
What we really like about our Unhappy Yearling is just he looks very, very fast. He's beautifully balanced, he's a great mover. We've just been so happy with the way he's grown up and matured, and we really like him at the moment.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
That time at Oaklawn, win a home run. Made for a big night. Bet on your favorite teams at Oaklawn's new race and sports book. Oaklawn, a new level of action, a new level of excitement.
The thermal spring waters our city is named after are known for their legendary healing properties. Their thirst-quenching properties are pretty nice, too. Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's different here. Come see why.
12 categories covering the best of the sport and lifestyle, all decided by the fans. It's the America's Best Racing Fan Choice Awards.
Back on America's Day at the Races, Greg Wolf joined by Paula Duca. Back in action here with me on the desk here, stepping in for Andy Serling, and we have the start of the late pick 4 coming up. An interesting sprint race ahead in here. It is still Zonic who is favored, but sudden surprise is going to be tough with the speed, the 1A that he possesses in this race.
Yeah, Zonic, the gelding by Ghost Zapper, does have one win here at Belmont. The issue that he has is he runs his races, like I always say, upside down. He sort of like leaves a lot to do, and last time he broke very, very bad. But that was the first time sprinting in a little while. But he's never really a horse that's, you know, give you a faint of heart, because he's going to be rolling down the lane, but he needs pace to run into. Blue belt late scratch because he just ran on the 7th of September. But does he have enough pace to run into? Special story goes, there's a rider change there with Louis Reyes on the 1. The 1A, sudden surprise. They're both not going to duel each other, but they look like the speed in here. H-Man goes into the Contessa barn. That's the 5. Does he show speed? As you see my pick 4 ticket, I'm not going to use H-Man. I'm going to go 1, 2, 7, 8. I thought it was a confusing race. I thought the 8 for Linda Rice obviously has a great shot. And the 7, Zonic, is the horse to beat if he can get pace to run into. Race number 6, 1, 3, 8, and 10. Rohrbacher, I like Baffin Bay, who was big last time and then bumps up for 62.5. Ian Glass, Southern Brigade as well. Race number 7, 2 and 5 are going to be your favorites in there. Pause for the Cause and Honor Way. And I was close to singling on her way. Charlie Baker doesn't claim a ton of horses, but I think the horse got a big shot, but I went 2, 3, 5, 6. Because then I went into the last race where a lot of people are going to like Recess, which I can understand. I like FICA for Joe Sharp and my boy Kendrick Carmouche.
That was a look at Eric Consell you just saw right there. Be riding for Tom Albertrani on this horse, Zonic, who was our favorite. Let's get a paddock report and head downstairs back to Acacia Courtney.
Zonic does definitely leave you maybe with your heart in your throat a little bit as he has that big closing kick. But I do think that he's run a couple of good races for trainer Tom Albertrani, at least recently. He certainly looks the part in here today, looks nice in his coat and in his weight. Cool, calm, and collected here in the paddock area. Maybe would like to see him get on his toes a little bit more, but he is that type of horse that his best running comes late, and he has that physical appearance as well. Last time out, he was actually off even slower, it appears, than he normally is. He's always at the back of the pack. He swung wide, but I thought finished up very well. And 2 starts back, it was going a longer distance, but he was only beaten by a very slim margin. His perhaps some of his strongest races, I think, have come here at Belmont. He did win breaking his maiden by 7 going a mile here at Belmont, and he is 5 out of 6 in the money over this track. I do wonder if he is going to get the right setup. That's always the question for him, but I think he's got enough pace to run at in here today, and hopefully he can get the trip and not save too much to do for the end. Right to his outside, the number 8 Spiteful Kitten is definitely an interesting one of 2 in here for Linda Rice. Now, it hasn't run since April. It has been running on the dirt and has been running consistently. Very good moves for this barn with this kind of move. 61 to 180 day layoff in dirt sprints at Belmont. She bats at about 25% with a positive return of investment as well. And certainly being by Kitten's Joy in the pedigree as well, I can see why this gelding was running on the turf towards the beginning of his career. Does have a flatter turf hoof on him, a little bit more of a robust build, but since not having run since April, he looks very much on the muscle, and typically horses from this barn will be a little bit bigger bodied, maybe carry themselves a little bit more, but I like what I see from him. I think he's got good fitness, and I do think that he should be ready to roll coming off the bench. The benefit that he does have versus the 7 Zonic in here is that he's got more of a tactical running style than the number 7 does. The number 1 Special Story won at Saratoga 2 starts back, going 6 furlongs, stretched out when going back up to the Finger Lakes last time in Stakes Company, and actually ran okay, finished 4th that day, but I do think that sprinting, both having seen him last time and today, is what he wants to do. He's got good size to him, but definitely his stronger races have been sprinting. Again, do note Luis Reyes will be aboard. And the 2 Caretaker, he's an interesting one, a little bit tricky for me because Trainer Ray Handel does an exceptional job claiming horses, but he was claimed from Kieran McLaughlin, and he is stepping up a little bit in class, having run for $25,000 last time, and is in for the 40. He looks good in his coat, as he always does. He's definitely the type of horse that gets on his toes before the races. See that from him. He's very well built behind the saddle, true rounded sprint hind to him as well. He too has a tactical running style. If he's involved in the race early and maybe sitting in a stalking position, maybe his running style will just carry him through, as your favorite does have that very strong late closing kick and a fascinating 5th race as they head postward to get ready for the post parade.
All right, Acacia, thanks. Getting set for our post parade coming up. We will have Luis Reyes on Special Story filling in for Junior Alvarado, by the way, waiting to hear if he's going to be off the rest of the mounts for the afternoon, because he does have a mount coming up in race number 6 as well in Southern Brigade.
Yeah, unfortunate situation in the last race. Looked like he was home and was going to win, and then Def just a mishap there. Hopefully everything is okay with Junior, but just walking off the racetrack is a win there. He has a couple other mounts. He has Southern Brigade, who has a big shot in race number 6, but I would think that he will be off some of his mounts, the rest of his mounts. He's got Southern Brigade, and I believe that's it, if I'm not mistaken, Greg. So he has a 16 in the last that did not get in. So. One more mount, and I think they're going to play it pretty safe. Like I said, he escaped something that could have been a lot worse. So,
as for this race coming up in here, Kendrick Carmouche, we didn't see him the first few days of the meet. I believe he was riding at Parks. He's back. He's on the 1A Sudden Surprise. Excuse me. off the claim here for David Canizzo. This horse has the ability to get loose in here.
Yeah, he does. And Kendrick's tried to steal the first race, trying to beat a 3-5 favorite with VIP Nation, and he might try to do the same thing today with Entry.
I thought this other half of the entry intriguing as well. This horse had won 4 of 5 before they stretched him out at Finger Lakes. And one of those wins came at Saratoga.
Yeah, if you look at Special Story, it's a horse now sort of changed the running style. It's a horse that always went to the front end and sort of now runs from behind. So look for the 1A. This one right here, Sudden Surprise, to be the speed. The one Special Story be the one that comes from behind.
All right, here's the speedster. Kendrick will ride off the claim. David Canizzo.
Yeah, and like you said, 44 type speed, and Canizzo usually puts more speed into him.
4-1 on the caretaker, Manny Franco.
Another horse that I thought was interesting, too, for Ray Handel. Doesn't claim a ton of horses, but he's 19%.
14-1 on Show Prince, Benji Hernandez. Gary Siaka, 2-back, was a winner on a sloppy track at Belmont.
Yeah, and the last time just didn't run at all, and I'm wondering if the sloppy racetrack is the key to this gelding, and because both of the wins have come over a wet surface.
Initially, I didn't think a whole lot of 5-star bunnies. 12-1 right now. Maybe Turf to Dirty wakes up.
Yeah, and maybe it's just because of Belmont. Now, I know he's won 2 of the races in off-the-turf events, or at least one of them was 35 cents to the dollar. But the other one, he ran well, so he likes this racetrack.
This horse was absolutely unbeatable for a time this summer with Jason Service. Then he went to Saratoga. He didn't fire. Now he's been claimed by Gary Contessa.
Yeah, this old horse used to be owned by Eric Fine. You can see the breeder, named after his son, H-Man Harris. And this horse got dead hot. You're right. Almost got 5. Actually does have 500,000 in the bank. I don't know if he's on the downside, though.
Sonic, 5-2. Eric Consell, Tom Albertrani coming out of a very tough race.
We talk about this son of Ghost Zapper. The break is the key, and that's why he's 2 for 18. If he can break with the field, he'll be tough.
And Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano. Lezcano, 4 wins today. Spiteful Kitten he'll ride here.
Listen, this is a tough horse to back at 9-2, and the reason why is the horse is 0 for 9 the last 2 years. But it's Linda Rice and Jose Lezcano. A little fortunate, but still has won 4 of the first 4 races.
So 9-2 on Spiteful Kitten. And, you know, with Blue Belt out, the 6-horse in this race, it made things a little bit easier for Sudden Surprise, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think Spiteful Kitten being fresh, hasn't run since April, is the really only other horse that can go with Sudden Surprise. But can anybody, like you said, go? I mean, if you look 21-4, 21-4, you don't see that. Now, Show Prince to 3 has a tiny bit of speed, but I just don't know if he can stick long enough. The caretaker, this horse broke dead last time and then got right into the race, and I thought ran very, very well and has shown some decent speed in the back of the form, but not Sudden Surprise speed. Looks well on the racetrack for Ray Handel. Getting played at the windows, too.
Yeah, 3-1 from a 4-1 morning line. Closed from breaking dead last in that last out effort to get up second, beat a length, finishing ahead of Blue Belt in there. And that was at Saratoga, though. But has some good efforts at Belmont. You know, H-Man occasionally, as we go back to the 5, has shown some pace.
H-Man's the wild card in here. Let's just really be honest. This horse claimed for 12-5. Jason Service just does wonders. Let's be honest. 82, 87, 90, 92, 85 buyer. This horse went on a nice little run, right? Then runs that 70 buyer down on the downswing, and Gary Contessa picks the horse up. Nothing against Gary, but he's not Jason Service. So what do you do with H-Man? But you're right. Here's a horse that has shown speed in the past. My worry is if you look 4 of the last 5 starts, or actually, yeah, 3 of the last 5 starts, horse is broken bad. I wonder if there's issues on the backside of the horse. Maybe that's why Jason finally put the 70-year-old son of Musket Man back into the claiming ranks. I'm not a fan. And at 5-1, no way.
Let's head downstairs to Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. I did just stop in the jocks room to get another update on jockey Junior Alvarado. He will be off for the remainder of the day. He was planning to ride Southern Brigade, as Paul had mentioned, for Rudy Rodriguez. He will be taking off as a precautionary measure, but I was told by his valet that he is doing okay, and it really is nothing but a precautionary measure, and will plan to come back to work as scheduled after the remainder of the day. So do note there will be another jockey change. They were just about to call trainer Rudy Rodriguez for an update and for a change there. So good to hear that Junior is doing okay as we turn our attention back to race number 5 in here. And to touch on, once again, your favorite, the 7, Zonic, warmed up nicely on the track under jockey Eric Cancel. And the question with this horse, and I took him a little bit with some hesitation. He does have that late closing kick. It's about patience. And I think the thing with this horse is that you need to be able to time your ride right. It looks like he's got a little bit more energy once he got onto the track. As I mentioned, he had been a little bit quiet in the paddock. And just to touch on the 1A in here, Sudden Surprise, as he is very fast. And he was at a really solid, robust build to him as well. You do get the entry 2 for 1 at a tepid 3 to 1 right now. Definitely expect this one to be part of the pace, and he looks ready to roll out of the gate, especially with Kendrick Carmouche up.
All right, Acacia, thanks. So waiting to hear who's going to ride Southern Brigade coming up in the next race on the turf. That will be the 10 horse for Rudy Rodriguez. In the meantime, 5-2 favorite on the entry in here in both halves of this entry have the ability to get it done. Sudden Surprise, the 1A, likely will get it done on the front end. If it's Special Story, might be sitting right behind that one.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, the rider of the 8, Jose Lescano, looking for 5 in a row, the first 5 of the day here in Elmont.
There is his mount, that Spiteful Kitten. Can he start out 5 for 5? He'll have to beat Zonic next door, the 7. Not your favorite, it's the entry. Let's go upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call.
They're all in line. They're off. Sudden Surprise out quickly for the early lead with Show Prince away in second. Then 5-Star Bunt, Spiteful Kitten to the outside, H-Man, and Special Story down toward the inside. The Caretaker goes up in between horses, and Zonic is the trailer 8 lengths off of front-running Sudden Surprise, and Kendrick Carmouche, who will make this pace in the race to the far turn, on top by a length. With Show Prince in second, on the outside comes Spiteful Kitten in third. Then Special Story after a 22.93 opening quarter mile. 5-Star Bunt is going up in between horses, then H-Man on the outside, followed at the rail by the Caretaker, and still Zonic at the back of the pack. So they make their way around the far turn. Sudden Surprise and Show Prince are 1-2. 5-Star Bunt is grabbed third. Special Story fourth. Spiteful Kitten's lost ground in fifth. Passed now by the Caretaker on the inside, while Zonic comes wide, and then it's H-Man. They're into the stretch. Sudden Surprise, a 45.79 half, trying to hold off this long shot. Show Prince, who ranges up alongside and pokes ahead in front, and the Caretaker is coming too. Now it's these two. Show Prince and the Caretaker takes the lead. The Caretaker and Manny Franco to win it by a length on the wire over Show Prince. And then it was Sudden Surprise and 5-Star Bunt.
The Caretaker runs down what would have been another huge surprise. A 20-1 shot. Show Prince, Manny Franco, and Ray Handel off the claim.
What a ride by Manny Franco. Actually, he sort of banked on 5-Star Bunt. You can see he's right behind the 4, drafts off that one and spins off because the 3 here, Show Prince and Benji Hernandez had the 1A measured the whole time. I looked at you, I'm like, the 3's got the 1 beat here. You could see the 1A was in a full drive, but then the Caretaker just starts rolling down the center of the racetrack. This could have been bomb to start this late pick 5, but the Caretaker, although 4-1 on the morning line, goes off at 3-1 in a strong ride there by Manny Franco. But you do get Show Prince, who runs a really nice second here. Great job by Gary Siakin. That's not a posse, run a good race.
3-1 on the Caretaker. The streak over for Jose Lescano, but what a start to his day. 4 for 4 to start things off. Finally, someone else breaks through. It's Manny Franco on the Caretaker. He's got to get it by a 20-1 shot. That 3-horse Show Prince, who had some back form. He ran fourth, I should say, against Blind Willie McTell at 44-1 back at the beginning of the year.
All right.
Nearly pulled off another huge upset. Back with prices from the 5th. We'll set up race 6 on the turf when we return.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NYRABets.com.
In the morning, I'm always looking for talent. With Always Dreaming, it was always about his athleticism. He's like a halfback. When he hit that hole, he exploded and hit another gear. In my experience, horses like Always Dreaming, they stamp their offspring with that ability. I'm racing with Bruno, and this breeding season, I'm always dreaming.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales ring, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. It's brought to you by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. 5th race in the books. It's the Caretaker. Ray Handel off the claim, and that's the 5th career win for this 5-year-old son of Speightstown.
Yeah, the AP Indy Mare safety net and Taste of Victory Stables, 5 for 25 lifetime is this horse, and now 2 for 9 lifetime at Belmont. If you had that pick 4, wasn't bad. The early pick 5, $880, and started off with a 3 to 5 shot, so good if you had that one. But if you're alive in the Empire or the late pick 5, you're alive for a nice low score.
And Acacia gets to see a new face down in the winner's circle.
That's right, Greg. I'm joined by Tony and Michael Altamari from Taste of Victory Stables. Congratulations. And Tony, first off the claim, and you got a winner. How does that feel?
It feels great. I think we lost him today, though, too, which is a little disappointing. But we love the horse. Ray Handel did a great job picking him out, obviously. And we couldn't be happier, except that he's no longer ours.
You were telling me you have about 4 horses here in New York. What's that feeling like when your horse, Michael, is coming down to the wire?
All I can say is he just is nothing like a winner. Nothing, you know.
It's like having children.
Exactly like having children.
Like seeing your children do well.
Right, absolutely. I was up in Saratoga and a woman walked up to me. She says, "What's it like to be an owner?" I said, "Are you a parent? Then you know." And she's like, "Okay, I'd heard enough," and she walked away.
I like it. I think that's a good marketing campaign for ownership.
There you go.
I like it, guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations, an immense feeling of pride.
Thank you.
Thank you. You see that, Greg? I like that. If you're a parent, you know what it feels like to see your kid doing well on the racetrack.
That's what these horses are all to these owners. They're like their children.
They are.
They bring you so much joy.
Except your kids don't bring back $45,000 and your kid doesn't go to another family. But that's what ends up happening here. Listen, it's a heady claim for 25. They get the purse. With the 40, it's about $75,000. They claim the horse for 25. You think with everything else, they got about $45,000 out of it. It's not a bad, if you think about it, about a month. They claimed the horse on August 4th, so pretty good investment.
Rob Atras taking over the training duties of the Caretaker, gets the claim there with that horse. Late pick 5 follow. Oh, it left us.
It left us. But it started with an $80-something horse, did it not?
There
Oh,
we go.
$50. Conviction trade, yeah. Wow, if you're alive, $125,000 in that pool. The Caretaker was like 4th choice, I want to say, because you had to beat an entry somewhere in there. And we still got a couple tricky races left.
All right, race 6. This one's a little tricky, no doubt. Mile and a 16th. It's on the inner turf. $62,000 claiming race. This is for 3-year-olds. And her favorite is Go Poke the Bear, who got beat last time out by a couple of faces he's going to go up against again today.
Yeah, he got beat last time out by a neck, like you said, against the 5 in here and against the 6 in here, 2 of his foes. And I don't know why they're different prices, but to the Brad Cox barn, who had this horse before. So Pletcher and him have been trading this horse back and forth, so maybe this is a good sign, the reclaim.
We're going to take a break. Don't worry, they're not stealing the starting gate. Iroquois, Pocahontas, those 2-year-old stakes races coming up at Churchill Downs this weekend, and we're going to have live coverage of them both. We'll give you a preview of what to look forward to coming up this weekend in Louisville. Stay tuned.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures, and there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guy's gonna do it.
Funny Guy's win in the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Hip 596, a colt by Eclipse champion Run Happy. Out of the well-proven Quiet American mare, Queen of America, this colt is a half-brother to 4 graded stakes horses, including Well Moneyed, Economic Model, and Your Love. His second dam is half-sister to Grade 1 stakes winner Nanny's Sweep. Consigned by Claiborne Farm, selling at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Serengeti Empress is off the turn on cruise control. Love My Honey in a full-out drive, but is second. Splashy Kisses struggling back in third. Lights, Camera, Action is way back in fourth. Everybody's far behind Serengeti Empress, whose lead's built to 8, 10, 12, maybe more than that. Serengeti Empress saunters home to win the Pocahontas for fun.
That was last year, Serengeti Empress for Tom Amos, announcing her arrival as a major player. As a 2-year-old filly, she would go on, of course, to win the Kentucky Oaks for Tom.
Yeah, she really did. She did that with so much ease in the Pocahontas, and you're right. Came back to win the Kentucky Oaks, and the last one to do that was Untappable. The only 2 to do it, and Untappable did it in 2013, 2014.
Well, Tom's going to have another shot at it this year. He's going to have Longshot His Glory, who ran third at 9-1 last out at Ellis Park, but did win first time out impressively at Indiana Grand.
Yeah, His Glory, and Tom has a filly by Mineshaft that probably needed a couple races, but going long might help her.
Meanwhile, Morning Gold is 3-1 on the morning line. Kenny McPeak, 2 starts, only one, but they both came on turf. Now this will be the dirt debut, and she went gate to wire last out on the turf. She went going away on grass.
Yeah, you know, her first race she lost to Sweet Melania. Lucky Jingle came out of that race to win. Then the second time out, she crushed the group. A couple things you like about this filly, a couple things you worry about. Jose Ortiz sticks. I've said this before, Kenny McPeak does not like to run his young horses with Lasix. Going to get Lasix for the first time and try dirt for the first time. The thing that she does have in her corner going around 2 turns, but she's never had any dirt kicked in her face.
Meanwhile, British Idiom, she's only started once, and this was that performance. It was a win as a 7-2 favorite for Brad Cox.
I thought this was a good effort. Castellano was aboard on this day. Irad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard come this day, and 3.5-1 was a tepid favorite, but I like the way that this daughter of Flashback strided out. She looked like she wanted a little bit more distance.
It's asking a lot, though. Just one start spurting and now stretching out to a 2-turn mile and a 16th. I actually think the other Brad Cox runner. Portrait might be maybe the way to go in that race.
Yeah, Portrait's an interesting runner. The 3 in there. I also think the 1 in there, Shady Lee, is not a bad runner. Michael Maker has a knack for claiming horses. It's unbelievable. And he claimed this one. He plucked him from Todd Pletcher, a horse that won by 3 1/4 lengths and a maiden 75,000. And this filly's by declaration of war, and I think it's going to love the stretch out. I thought the 1 might be very, very dangerous for Mike Maker in that race.
Back to today's action again, live coverage this weekend. Those 2-year-old stakes at Churchill Downs, also the Woodbine Mile. Gotta catch our show this weekend. Breeders' Cup win and you're in races, including a Sunday as well with the 2-year-olds from Woodbine.
Yeah.
$62,000 claiming race coming up next at Belmont. Mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Go Poke the Bear for Brad Cox. Claimed off of Todd Pletcher. Brad Cox had this one before, decided to reclaim.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a good thing. They had the horse for 30. He claimed the horse from Pletcher for 30, raised him for 50. Pletcher took the horse right back, and then the horse dropped for 40. Brad took the horse right back. The one thing you can take out of it is Brad and Todd are both telling you the horse is sound.
Yes.
Now, here's the issue. He broke his maiden for 20 at Gulfstream Park. Is that what he is? A maiden $20,000 horse. He's had 2 wins, one by a neck, and the other one was by, I think, a neck as well. So... or excuse me, 3 lengths, but that was a main 30 at Aqueduct when he was 45 cents on the dollar. So I don't know about 3 to 1.
Yeah, and Spinning Kitten, Artemis Bridge, 5 and 6, just finished ahead of him last time out. Well, Brad Cox, he's achieved career-defining success with his work with champion filly Monomoy Girl. Well aware of history, though, and what those before him have accomplished. He's far from satisfied with his sights set much higher.
I'm very driven. I kind of feel like I'm driven by the fear of failure, to be honest. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose at anything. So that's just my personal take on it. But I don't know. I just want to be as successful as I can and accomplish as much as I can in this life. So it's you live it once, do the best you can. It's fun to win, and especially nice races like Monomoy Girl Grade 1s. I mean, it's an excitement. It's a feeling that no other.
Monomoy Girl's got plenty left in the tank. Oh, what a fabulous filly she is! Monomoy Girl wins it by 3.
I mean, it's I like winning. It doesn't matter if it's a maiden claiming 10,000 at Indiana Downs on Tuesday. I mean, I love to win, but there's something that goes for that when you're winning Grade 1s and graded stakes. It's an amazing feeling. Winning graded stakes with obviously this filly winning the Acorn and the CCA Oaks are huge accomplishments that on this circuit. This is a very, very, I mean, this is probably the best circuit in the country, and this is a world stage, Naira. People throughout the world pay attention to racing here, just with the pedigree and the bloodlines and the quality of horses here. So it's a huge deal.
Monomoy Girl at 16th to go. Blue Prize. Wildcat finishing well on the inside. And then comes Midnight Pizu. Monomoy Girl has won the distaff.
I can tell you I'm not content. I'm not content at all. I'm happy with what we as a team have accomplished, but I'm not content, no, by no means. The goal is to have, like I said earlier, graded stake horses. We want to win the Kentucky Derby. We'd like to, and I'm sure if we win it once, we'll want to win it again. So that's the goal. I mean, I idolize guys like Bob Baffert and Dwayne Lucas and what they've accomplished in their career and are still accomplishing. So, those are the guys that I look up to, and, get on Equibase and see how many graded stakes they won in a year, how many grade 1s they won in a year, Triple Crown races, and, those are goals that I'm after, chasing, and, hopefully someday we can get there.
Brad Cox, he has done a tremendous job, and what a job he did with Monomoy Girl. Unfortunately, this news just came out. She is out of consideration. She was on the comeback trail, but out of consideration now for the Breeders' Cup Distaff to try to repeat in that race. Suffered a slight muscle pull in her latest work, but the filly's ownership group, per Marty McGee at Daily Racing Forum, says they do intend to bring her back and race her as a 5-year-old.
Yeah, listen, Michael Dubb, Monomoy Stables, the Elstone Group, and that Bethlehem Stables, they are game. They want to bring her back. She had an unbelievable 2018. She won the Rachel Alexandra, the Ashland, the Kentucky Oaks, the Acorn. The Coaching Club American Oaks topped it off with a Breeders' Cup distaff. You can take nothing away from this filly. And listen, she's going to take the rest of the year off, and it's going to be awesome to see her back in 2020.
Meanwhile, getting set for our paddock report coming up. Brad Cox again with the 2. Go Poke the Bear. Let's check in with Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. We do have a very interesting field assembled here, and Go Poke the Bear, as you guys were mentioning, has been in a little bit of a claim battle between Brad Cox and Todd Pletcher. And anytime I see connections reclaim a horse, I do take that as a vote of confidence. Now, this horse does have to, I think, run one of his stronger races today for sure. I do think that the question about him is that what kind of performance are we going to get in the rematch between Artemis Bridge and Spinning Kitten? He finished 3rd behind those other 2 last time. Also do note when Brad Cox did have him, he ran him for 50,000 on yielding turf at Belmont, but was not able to get a victory with him. So maybe it's a little bit of a unfinished business with Go Poke the Bear, who will have Regime Mirage in the saddle. But he's super fit in here today and handling himself professionally. But Spinning Kitten ran well in that field as well. He finished 2nd, beating Justin Eck, and he's coming off of a couple of 2nd place finishes. Now, the question with this horse, and you had alluded to this, that he did debut for $20,000 at Gulfstream Park, and that was actually a pretty solid $20,000 maiden claiming field, going a mile on the turf. He won at first asking, and then has actually not really run a bad race. Certainly his last 2 going a touch longer have been better. So he's going to go with the mile and 16th once again today, where he finished 2nd at this distance, and at Belmont 2 starts back. He was a little bit green and all over the place in the stretch, watching the head-on of that last race. He is showing me a lot of energy here in the paddock once again. He's a very handy, kind of smaller built horse, so that's going to help him potentially stay out of some traffic trouble. We'll see if he can keep a straight course this afternoon. The 6 Artemis Bridge, he's been very good. He was claimed moving to the barn of Steve Claceris, had a disappointing effort off the turf 2 starts back. Then on the grass, he seemed to be glad to be back in his preferred surface. Does look like a turf horse, definitely on the muscle in here today. He's got to be able to repeat that performance. It was a little bit of an all-out stretch battle with the 3 of them coming down to the wire last time out. So he was in a stalking spot, waiting for room last time out, finished up really nicely, looks great in the coat in here today. If you want somebody outside of these 3, the 3 Baffin Bay is getting back on the turf. He's with the pony, they saddled him on the walk, he's been on his toes, that's totally normal for him. Even seeing him a lot down in Florida, I've been very familiar with him. This was probably the easiest I've seen him get the tack on today. That's always been a little bit of a battle as well. But when he's right, he's right. I think he's a very talented horse, and he ran well last time in an off-the-turf race when he certainly prefers to be on the grass. He's on the muscle today. He's again, handling himself better than I saw previously for him. Maybe a little bit more of this compact and keeping him behind the saddling stalls here in the Belmont paddock has set well with him. He's run some good races on the turf down in Florida. Maybe this just might be the right spot, as he's actually pretty quiet as far as Baffin Bay standards as they start to head postward in here for the 6th.
Acacia, thanks. You can play along and bet each and every race that we show you all throughout the meet with Now Bets. Get a $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up at any track, anywhere, anytime at NYRABets.com or download the Nyra Bets app. Post Parade coming up, and it is the Tom Morley runner, Ian Glass, who's favored at 5-2. He has another runner in here though. Impossible Odds, the 4. He's actually 2 for 4 at Belmont, and is coming off a win here at Belmont.
Yeah, and a horse that comes from a little bit out of it, so he's got a little bit of speed in Ian Glass, and he's got a little punch late with Impossible Odds. So Ian Glass could control this race for a long time with Johnny V in the saddle.
Hear the call to post behind us, and here they come. We're going to start things off with a 1 Rohrbacher for Mike Stidham. Comes in off a win at Colonial. At a mile and a 16th on turf, has 2 wins and a 2nd and 3 turf tries.
I like horses, actually love horses like this that just run on anything. Sloppy racetrack, synthetic turf, and I know a lower race at Colonial, but this horse could be dangerous. I'd say beware at 7-1.
Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard. Go Poke the Bear. This is the Brad Cox runner who's gone from Cox to Todd Pletcher to Brad Cox to Todd Pletcher back to Brad Cox.
Yeah, right. Since they've added blinkers, both of the wins have come. So seems like he's more focused, and he's been gelded in 2019, and that's helped as well.
3-horse Baffin Bay. Gregory DePrima second. Beat a nose behind Snow last time out.
I actually agree with Acacia.
Now, excuse me, it was main track only.
Yeah, I actually like this horse, Baffin Bay. I agree with Acacia going back on the turf course. Not a bad stab here because this horse has got some good turf efforts. 4 for 7 over it.
Yeah, 4 for 7 with a second place finish. Here's the other Tom Morley runner. He has the favorite. He has this one as well.
Lascano going to look for his 5th on the day. It'll be the first time he's ridden this gray. 2 for 4, though, over the strip.
Spinning Kitten, it's Danny Gargan, won very first time out on the turf at Gulfstream and has 2 seconds since that time.
He was a part of that race when they went a mile and 1/8 at Saratoga. The 3 of these runners come out of, and he split at about 8.5 to 1. He ran a really courageous race.
Artemis Bridge, Steve Klasaris, coming off a victory at Saratoga at a mile and 1/8 for 40,000. This is the horse who beat Spinning Kitten and Go Poke the Bear.
Yeah, and it was the first time he'd ever stepped on turf at age 3, and he won. So he could improve here. I'm surprised that he's 11-1.
Ian Glass, our favorite for the Tom Morley barn. John Velasquez rides.
Well, this will be the cheapest this is, Son of Hardspun's been in for. And like I said, he can control things. He's pretty fast. He can go about 109 or 110 and change, and there's no one here that can go that fast with him.
And on the outside, no Junior Alvarado, had that spill earlier on. He's off mounts the rest of the day. Luis Reyes rides here for Rudy Rodriguez.
And maybe this is why this horse isn't really getting played at 5-1, because this horse figures in here, but it seems like he needs to be ridden like perfectly, and Louis will be the first time on him. But I would think he sits a decent trip in here. He has some forward speed. He might sit in like the first flight, maybe second, third, or fourth.
This is a wide open race. I love the warm-up we were seeing, though. We saw from the 5, Spinning Kitten, who I was looking off here in the distance as you were talking about that last horse, just kind of running off on his own. He looks ready to go today.
Yeah, Danny Gargan had the winner of the first race. He's been on some kind of roll. You're looking at Rohrbacher there for Michael Stinham. And what do you do with a horse like this? I hate to knock a horse that ran 38 by her first time, then 62, then 66, and 78, and 76. This is the Colonial Downs effort, gate to wire. Got to go pretty slow in 113 flat and then finished up in 144. I get it. It's a 25 non-3. It's a field of 7. It's not much. This horse isn't going to get the lead today, but I think he can sit a good trip with Kendrick unless Kendrick wants to get aggressive and try to take the lead away. He was on Spinny Kitten before. I don't know if he had a choice between mounts or not. It remains to be seen. But Ian Glass, I just don't see the 8 letting the 1 get to the front end. But Kendrick could try to push the button enough where Johnny V can say, okay, I can back off. I've laid off a slow pace before at Fairgrounds way back when.
You know Kendrick wants the lead. He's drawn inside on the inner turf. Here's the 5, who I love the way he looked warming up. Spinning Kitten, and Manny Franco took him away from the rest of this field to get a little more into him, and maybe that means this horse is going to send.
Listen, Manny gave the 2, the caretaker in the last race, a great ride. And like I said, he's such a great finisher. Where does this horse lay in the scheme of things? The 1 goes, maybe the 8 goes, and then Spinning Kitten lays in that really good spot, cuts back from a mile and 8 to a mile and 16th. Last time at a mile and a 16th here, ran second, and it was a good second, but had the front end. I don't think this horse wants the front end. I think this horse needs a target.
Let's check in with Acacia Courtney for more.
I'll pick up where you left off, Greg. I, too, loved the warm-up from Spinning Kitten. One thing that I really thought looked nice about him was the position of his neck. That's something that you like to see with horses before the race because it shows that they're into the bridle, they're relaxed, they're responding to the requests from their rider. He also had a great reaching stride to him as well, just a very balanced look. And that kind of good collected warm-up is what you like to see for his running style as well, as he's just really well within himself too. Not overexerting or using up too much energy before the race even begins. Really fluid, lovely movement quality to him as well with his neck bowed. Now, your current favorite, 9-5 on the 8, Ian Glass. Didn't get a chance to talk about him in the paddock, but he's a worthy favorite given the company that he has kept. Now, he, in the reverse, has been the type of horse that's been really on his toes from the second he entered into the paddock. Got the tack on him, got the rider up, still on his toes, just kind of a raring to go type of horse. And he's very lean. He looks like the type of horse, he's just a high energy one as well, which makes sense as he's a speedy horse as well, going to break from the gate, use that energy up early, but he's coming out of stakes competition against the likes of Win, Fog of War, and Casa Creed, so he might have the slight class edge in here, thus the favoritism, but there's some nice value, I think, available in this race, guys.
7-5 now on Ian Glass. As Acacia was talking about our favorite, and yeah, obviously he's faced tons better the last couple of starts. But, I mean, you could make the case some of the others could have run 7th, beaten 8 lengths to that group as well.
I get what you're saying. I mean, the competition that he's faced, you're right, been a lot better. But when you look at the numbers, they're not soaring over these. I mean, Southern Brigade's got better numbers. The outside horse, I think Junior Alvarado being off is probably hurting that horse's number at 6-1, but Luis Reyes is very capable. It's just, the odds board is confusing to me considering they all ran against each other. Spinning Kitten, Go Poke the Bear, and Spinning Kitten's 6-1, Go Poke the Bear is 9-2. Artemis Bridge won the race and is 15-1. That was the first time he ever stepped on turf. I don't get that. That's a little bit weird to me, and that sort of makes me think, do I just completely stay away from that race? Everybody that was in that race at 2, 5, and 6, and that's actually what I did. I stayed away from the race. They might run 1, 2, 3, but I think the race is a bad race.
And Ian Glass might be the best horse in this race, but he does not deserve to be even money.
No, he doesn't deserve to be even money.
By any stretch.
No, by any stretch, he doesn't. But the one's taking interesting money here, and he likes to win races. I'll tell you, that's the sneak horse here.
Continuing to load up here, wide open 6 race, although the betting public does not see it that way. They have made the 8 horse, Ian Glass for Tom Morley, overwhelmingly the horse to beat. The 8 horse sent a hard spun. Let's send it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call. Here's race 6 from Belmont.
Baffin Bay takes a step sideways there and has unseated jockey Ruben Silvera, but immediately grabbed by the assistant starter here. Meanwhile, Ian Glass has stepped forward into line, and they will attempt to load Baffin Bay riderless. Baffin Bay just about in the starting gate here, now goes in, and we'll have Ruben Silvera hop aboard. That'll leave just a couple left to load here as Impossible Odds steps forward into line, and Southern Brigade will be the last one. They're all in line. They're off. Ian Glass hops out of there quickly with Southern Brigade on the outside, and from the rail, Rohrbacher. These 3 with the most early foot as they race on that first turn. And it's Baffin Bay on the inside of Spinning Kitten, Artemis Bridge going up on the outside. And take it in hand there, Impossible Odds to be second last onto the backstretch clear of the trailer Go Poke the Bear. So they hook up with the backstretch here, and it is Ian Glass and Southern Brigade making this pace. A half length apart, 25.37 that opening quarter mile. Rohrbacher sits back off of them, 2 lengths off the lead, running in third up the backstretch from Baffin Bay on the outside, 4th. Then it's Spinning Kitten, Artemis Bridge, Go Poke the Bear, going up in hand right behind them and splitting those 2, and now Impossible Odds is last. So they continue in pursuit of Ian Glass and Southern Brigade. They've been 1-2 so far, a 50.27 half, and they're clear by a length and a half to Rohrbacher running in third, racing for the far turn. And then Baffin Bay 4th on the outside, followed by Spinning Kitten, who rides the rail on the turn, 5 lengths off the lead. Artemis Bridge is next. Go Poke the Bears coming under a ride to go. And then Impossible Odds around the far turn. Ian Glass and Southern Brigade eye to eye as they come to the top of the stretch. 3/4 in 1:13.31. These two 1-2 throughout. Still Ian Glass. Now getting away to a length lead. Southern Brigade is second, and here's Baffin Bay trying to get involved on the outside. Finishing well in the center of the course. Then Rohrbacher and Go Poke the Bear, and here comes Baffin Bay. And Go Poke the Bear, and it's going to be Baffin Bay over Go Poke the Bear. Then it was Ian Glass and Southern Brigade.
Baffin Bay, Gregory DePrima picks up the 5th turf win of his career in 8 starts.
Yeah, good job here by Ruben Silvera. This horse was getting actually a little rank with him early. Great call by Acacia Courtney. Said getting this horse back on the turf was going to be better. And the one thing that he does well, he's 10% from sprint to route. But Ruben had this horse placed perfectly. At the top of the lane, I looked at you. Does the 10 have the 8 beaten? And no, the 8 turned the 10 away, but it sort of took the sting out of the 8 late. You can see Go Poke the Bear in the middle of the racetrack. But 11-1 here on Baffin Bay from 5-1 just shows you Gregory DePrima not getting much love. Either did Ruben Silvera, but they're going to get the money.
Horse who had the best record, well, maybe aside from Rohrbacher, but who's more lightly raced on turf of anybody. More wins anyway. Now 5 wins on the turf for Baffin Bay. Somehow floated up to more than double what his morning line was. 11-1, as Paulie told you. Woodland Farms, Gregory DePrima, Ruben Silvera, double-digit odds. Here in race 6 from Belmont, we'll have the prices for you set up the 7th. When we come back on America's Day at the Races.
This filly is very well balanced. She's correct. She has a really athletic walk to her. Checks off a lot of boxes that I think a lot of people as breeders and as buyers look for. She's as nice a yearling as we've raised here in 20 years. She's just the total package for me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Good Samaritan, the last great son of Harlan's Holiday. A debut winner at Saratoga, followed by 14 consecutive graded stakes performances. A Grade 2 winner on dirt and turf.
Good Samaritan to the Breeders' Cup.
Good Samaritan has taken the lead and he's pulling away.
Out of the family of Sky Mesa, Bernstein, and Champion Outstandingly. The last great son of Harlan's Holiday is only at Windstar Farm.
Eclipse champion Blaine was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault, and graded stakes winners Morale, Beyond Blaine, Miss Kentucky, and Blaine. This year, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $700,000. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, Baffin Bay, 5-1 morning line, somehow floats up to 11-1 and is now 5 for 8 on turf lifetime.
Yeah, congratulations to son of Pioneer in the Nile at the Include Mare Open Waters. Woodland Farms. Ruben Silvera never gets a lot of love, but he's 14% for the year, and he rode this gelding at one time at Gulfstream Park.
Let's head downstairs to Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. I'm standing by with winning trainer Greg DePrima, and we've talked a little bit about Baffin Bay. He's a tricky horse, tricky to get the tack on and to keep him right. How validating to get the win?
Really happy. I mean, it's a lot of work around him, but today was great. Saratoga a little tougher than today, but today he did real good. So it was pretty easy.
Since he came into your barn, what have you learned from him? How do you think he's developed?
You know, we've just been doing a lot of schooling with him, afternoons, morning, gate schooling. As you see, Ruben had a little trouble before he loaded, but otherwise, it was pretty good today. All around, we were happy.
When you got the tack on him and he was acting pretty good in the paddock, were you a little bit more confident then?
Much more confident. Once you get the tack on, he's fine. He's actually no bother. He goes onto the track fine. Once he gets with the pony, which he really likes, he's fine.
Nice win from him today. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was just the magic touch in there, Greg, for Baffin Bay.
This horse has had the magic touch on several occasions.
Sometimes you just need a friend, Greg. Just need a friend to just take you to the starting gate and tell you, hey, you know what? It's okay. Get him next time. And that's what his pony did for him, his little friend.
That's all it took?
That's all it took. Craig said as soon as you get him tacked up and he got to the pony, he likes his pony.
How about that? It's always
How
good to
about
have
this,
a friend
by
at
the
the
way?
racetrack. $50 start.
I wish that friend would have gave me the 10 in the
$25
first leg.
And the caretaker, $830. This is the pick 3 was $1,800.
Wow.
This pick 5 is going to be potentially just a couple of tickets.
Yeah, and race number 3, Clench did win. He was your second choice to start the Empire, but there's not a lot of money left in the Empire as well. So hopefully you're alive in all these exotics, and you need to get past 2 more.
Race 7, it's main track, 6.5 furlongs, an allowance optional claiming race. Pause for the cause. Even money. This is a short price on this 4-year-old filly by Giants Causeway, who does own a victory over Honor Way. We will talk more about it coming up. But Kieran McLaughlin, of course, trains our favorite coming up. And when Invisor came to the Dubai World Cup for Kieran McLaughlin, he brought overwhelming credentials, including a win in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That had him stamped as one of the world's best horses. He would live up to that billing in a race that for Kieran McLaughlin is his favorite.
My favorite race is the 2007 Dubai World Cup with Invisor because of the ownership and all the people involved with the horse. We got real nervous about 1 hour before the race when we forgot to bring silks. We didn't have any colors because in America the colors are in the jocks room, but over there each trainer brings them in each night for the races. So we were scrambling around for some colors an hour before the race.
Racing in the Dubai World Cup.
We broke well, and he was nice and clear on the outside, and everything's going well. He moves up and around the turn now, traveling great. He looks like he's doing fabulous. The jock on the inside just looked back, and I got a little nervous because he's going pretty well also, and we're second to him right now. And so I was a little nervous there for a few strides, and then he kicked on right here, and no one else was coming, only the horse on the inside.
Invisor Premium Jack, they're having a battle. Invisor's is now going over the winner, and Invisor is too good.
It was just unbelievable to win this race, and my wife and kids were with me, so we were hugging and jumping up and down. And he was a great horse for us in every way. I never felt quite like this, but every time he got in the starting gate, I felt like he was going to win. He was just, he gave us so much confidence in what we were doing, and he was just a great horse. I think about him almost every day because he's a life-size picture of him in my Belmont office and what he meant to our stable and my family.
What a horse. Invisor was incredible, 11 for 12 lifetime, and he beat a horse in that race who had never lost and was the only horse who would beat Invisor.
Discreet
to
Cat.
that point.
Yeah. And Discreet Cat, I'm still wondering if him to Ghost Zapper, who was faster going 1 mile. I mean, they were so blazing fast. But Invisor, wow, it's crazy. Watching his daughter Erin there now, because you see her at the racetrack now, she's in her mid-20s when you see her as a baby when Invisor won. But what a racehorse he was. And like you said, he beat a real one in Discreet Cat.
As for Pause for the Cause for Kieran McLaughlin, she was very good as a 3-year-old. She's sort of gone backwards a bit in her 4-year-old campaign. We'll talk more about it when we come back. She remains an even money favorite. We're still going to look ahead to the 2-year-old races coming up this Saturday at Churchill Downs, which we will bring you live this weekend on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned. A preview of the Iroquois coming up next.
Go from Railbird to Winner Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
War Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad, Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the sales ring, his $2.4 million sale topper at Keeneland September was the highest price yearling sold in North America last year. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Hip 621, a filly from the first crop of champion sprinter Run Happy. Out of a stakes-winning half-sister to Chasing Bubbles, winner of the New York Stallion Series Stakes, this New York-bred filly will be offered by Woods Edge Farm at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here in Elmont, New York. Our show brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Raced medication-free his entire career, and now he is off to a tremendous start as a stallion. As we look ahead to this weekend, a race we'll bring you from Churchill Downs, 2-year-olds in the Grade 3 Iroquois. Of course, Dennis's moment. So much intrigue to see this horse in stakes competition after he ran a 97 buyer, beating a field by more than 19 lengths at Ellis.
You gotta love the comment line when the comment line says demolished field and Miguel Mena was just a passenger. The sad and lonely person in this whole thing is Robbie Alvarado and all the bettors that bet this horse first time at 2.7 to 1. And he lost the jockey, and then you had to get him at 90 cents on the dollar when he won by 20.
Miguel Mena rode. It will be Irad Ortiz Jr. taking over. Meanwhile, Scabbard, Eddie Canelli, we saw him in the Saratoga Special. He was runner-up to maybe the best 2-year-old in the country right now in Green Light Go, but his debut, he won by 5 lengths at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, he was dominant, and he did it in a really good fashion. Corey Lannery, I tell you what, besides Calvin Burrell, he would be have that nickname. He likes to roll the dice a lot, and he gave this horse a little bit of an education rolling up the rail. Then, like you said, was second in the Saratoga Special to Green Light Goes to I believe still the best 2-year-old, and that was a solid effort. So to me, I'm with you. I think Scabbard's got a big shot in there. Some also talented horses in there. Rowdy Yates has got a little bit of love. Flute Maker's another one for Kenny McPeak. That was an off-the-turf event. Horse won by 12. And then Juggernaut for Keith DeSormo that won at Ellis Park, too. So I think a loaded field and a very good card this weekend. Very cards, as in good races at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, Lebda, another one I'm looking forward to seeing. Horse who ran huge at Delaware last start.
Yeah.
Won by 11+ lengths, and that's a multiple winner that's in that field. These are all the Breeders' Cup Challenge races coming up this weekend, by the way.
There's multiple 2-year-olds, like you were saying, that have won by open lengths. You don't really know what you're getting, but these, like you said, are the win in your in races. And like we said, don't forget about Sunday. Those are always fun races, the Natalma and the Summer on the turf, because they usually have a big impact on the races come November, obviously, in Breeders' Cup time.
Race 7, back on the main track here, 6.5 furlongs. An allowance optional claiming field even money on Kieran McLaughlin's Pause for the Cause for the Bromans. Daughter of Giants Causeway. She was early on very precocious. There was a time where she won 3 out of 4 races. In a couple of those, she won by combined 2 starts back-to-back. One at Belmont, one at Saratoga by nearly 12 lengths. She has not quite moved forward as much in her 4-year-old campaign, but she's been freshened up. Now she'll go turf to dirt. She'll cut back in distance.
I hear a lot of trepidation in your voice, Greg Wolf.
I would tread lightly, especially at even money. I would not have expected this price.
No, I'm with you. Okay, let me pose this question. Is this the easiest she's been in for a while, and does she control the pace? Her worry is going to be the 3, Legendary, who's Had some gate issues the last couple times, but they are both very fresh. One hasn't been out since July 12th, the two. One hasn't been out since July 8th. Are they going to ding-dong it on the front end?
They could, potentially. We saw Speed get run down back in race 5. We'll see what happens here coming up. We're 12 minutes away from this 7th race. Obviously, Honor Way has a lot of class. The 5 in this race, she's 6-5 on the board. In the Charlie Baker barn, claimed off of Linda Rice. The last time she was here talking about the 5, she was a winner, and it was at the same distance of 6.5 furlongs. 12 minutes to post here in the 7th from Belmont for those sticking with us. And we will have our paddock report here coming up in just a moment as we continue to look at our even money favorite in here. So John Velasquez will be hopping on board. Pause for the cause. Here is Honor Way, though. This is Charlie Baker's runner who just claimed this one off of Linda Rice. 2 back, ran here at Belmont, 6.5 furlongs at this level, and she ran everybody down for the win.
Yeah, and sometimes guys will claim horses for Saratoga. I truly think that Charlie claimed this horse for Belmont because if you look at her numbers, they're way better here. She's a better horse. This is a winning effort, closing in. If they go fast on the front end, talking about the 2 Pause for the Cause and the 3 Legendary, the 5 on her way is just going to be waiting for them. This 5-year-old mare, like by Caleb's Posse, runs just like her daddy, a closing sprinter.
All right, let's get more. Head downstairs. Paddock report time. Let's go to Acacia.
And the 2 Pause for the Cause did try the turf last time out and going 1 16th. Just did not seem to be what this horse wanted to do. I know by Giants Causeway, but the bottom side is all dirt. And the best races for Pause for the Cause have come on the main track and have come sprinting. Maybe it was a case of she was a very precocious younger horse. She had some versatility, and we haven't quite seen the sharpest performance from her lately. I do think getting back to her preferred surface and a field that she should be able to handle herself well in. I will say physically, she really does get the nod in here, and it's a smaller field, but she's good in her coat and in her weight. She's stuck with the pony, saddled with the pony, but she's been very, very calm. It's not really acted up at all. I do want to mention we have a little bit of a wind and a breeze picking up here. It's gotten a little bit cooler here at Belmont Park, and the horses do tend to react to the wind more than anything. So if you see horses maybe on the track or even in the paddock just getting a little bit fresh and a little bit on their toes, totally normal reaction to the breeze and the wind that we are hearing here and feeling here. Now the 5 Honor Way, first off the claim for Charlie Baker, really on her toes, this 5-year-old mare. And she comes out of a monster key race in the mud at Saratoga last time out. 3 out of the 4 horses to run back came back to win and with good numbers. Once they got the tack on, she's kind of been able to wrangle that energy a little bit better. But again, she was very on her toes, seeing just a little bit of kidney sweat from her. But she's a high energy type of horse, and hopefully she's able to maintain that to get onto the racetrack. Well built behind the saddle, true sprint look, and she looks identical as far as how she's holding her weight to when I saw her last time with Linda Rice as well. And she should be ready to go today. The 3 Legendary could be a little bit of the wild card. She's speedy, by sensational, super fit with those short cut blinkers on, comes out of a disappointing effort as the very short price favorite at Finger Lakes last time out, and that was in July. So she's had some gaps between her races recently, November to July at Finger Lakes, and then we haven't seen her since that last race. But again, she's very fit in here today, and she looks fast. Her speed is going to be her best weapon in this race in here today. Begrudgingly, I gave the nod in here to Pause for the Cause. She's got to step back up and give us what we saw from her towards the start of her career.
Riders up. Thank you, Acacia. 4-5 remains on Pause for the Cause.
Yeah.
Who you're looking at.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Legendary's gone to the sidelines because you look at her last 3 efforts, she's broke dead last in each one. Stumbled badly. She was dead last in the autumn days, and then the last time she just broke very, very sluggish in the race at Finger Lakes. I think they tried to give her a little bit of confidence by taking her down there. So Mr. Zayat and the Zayat Stables gave her a little bit of time now. I would think Rudy Rod's got her back in the shape. Now, if she can break like she used to, she's going to show that speed, but she has some gait issues. And if she gets away slow, that filly on your screen, it will be gone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if she gets out there by herself, might get very brave on the front end. Post parade coming up. As we look at Squan's camp, I thought the 4 was a little interesting in here because she always seems to run her race. I thought 5.5 was probably too short for her 2 back, and I thought 7 might have been probably too far for her last start.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are looking at the one race at Belmont, the Pumpkin Pie, where she ran a 7 bar, but it was on a muddy racetrack. You draw a line through that. The race before that in the Shine Again, she was 4th. The Carrie Ann tweeting at that time was pretty good, and she's run some decent races. And we've seen, I think we're over the Parks and the Laurel horses because they're coming here and they're running well. And you're right, she's sort of a lunch pail type of horse. She always runs the same type of race, and she's not far off these horses.
Our post parade coming up it has gotten dark here for our final 2 races coming up.
At least the rain has stayed away, and it looks like it will be okay tomorrow. But it's actually nice and cool out.
It's actually great weather.
That's right.
But yeah, it's just gotten. It's going to start getting a little dark, a little earlier. It seems like.
Yeah.
Summer is over.
Summer is over, although it's technically we still got a couple more weeks. So you can
Not
wear
here. It's over here.
Well, can you? Oh well, you can't wear your white. We're past Labor Day. Okay.
Is that the rule?
Well, I mean, it's been a long life rule, hasn't it?
I guess. I don't know all those rules. We're going to see Pause for the Cause first. I probably should. John Velasquez, Hall of Famer, on board this 4-year-old filly who you would have to think they are going to send, but coming out of a 1.16 mile race on turf, that's going to dull the speed a bit, no?
Yeah, the other part about this, too, is only 2 published works since July 28th. So are they spotty works? What's going on here? The thing that I do like that she's not for sale.
Does that mean if she's unable to get the lead here, this one next door, Will Legendary looks like the other main speed in the race. It's Luis Reyes, Rudy Rodriguez. She's quick.
Yeah, the issue is, can she go with the 2? The 2 is so fast, and I mean, she's stakes play. She's stakes winner, too. I mean, and she's probably faster than a 3. We'll see what happens in the beginning.
Squan's Kingdom, if nothing else, she's consistent. She runs her race each and every start. Now, is it good enough? We're about to find out.
No, you're right. 229,000 in the bank, 8 thirds. So maybe that's where you want to place her, in 3rd.
Dylan Davis will be aboard. On her way, probably the classiest, or one of them, along with Pause for the Cause here in this race. Manny Franco, now in the Charlie Baker barn.
Yeah, and if you just look, the best 2 races on her form are at Belmont, 2 back and 3 back. And I think she's the one that's going to be running late.
She looks ready to go. And how about China Rider? Kendra Carmouche getting a little aggressive warm-up into this one, who is down to 8-1 from a 12-1 morning line.
You know, she ran down a field on a sloppy racetrack at Saratoga and flew home. The crazy part is she has not been on a fast racetrack. It's not even on the race form. It's somewhere in 2018, and she's 0 for 7 over fast racetracks.
So we'll see. Look at Kendrick here.
Oh, there you go. An off-the-turf event. You're right. You pointed out. September 7th. She ran 4th. She's 0 for 7 on fast racetracks. I just don't know at 8-1.
Major projection play.
Yeah.
And you got 2 pretty classy fillies and mares, and the 5 on her way, and this one right here, Pause for the Cause.
The New York bred, Pause for a Cause. The Ontario bred on the outside, and the rest are Kentucky breds. But we talk about the beginning of the race and who's going to be aggressive. We know Louis Reyes is going to be aggressive with Legendary. We know Johnny V is with Pause for the Cause. Johnny V is going to go and then see what happens with Legendary. If Legendary does not break, he'll go to the front end. If Legendary does break, I think he'll let Legendary go to the front end. Because if you look at Pause for the Cause, she's been able to rate before, and I don't think he wants to get into a pseudo-style pace tool. But the issue is if the 2 and the 3 get in the pace tool, the 3 will be done. The 2 will put her away, and then the 5 will just be sitting in the wings.
Yeah, will she have anything left to tackle the next wave that comes with On Her Way? But yeah, Pause for the Cause, who you're looking at, has shown an ability, no question, to sit, stalk, and have finish. So John Velasquez likely going to see what this one does here out of the gate with Luis Reyes for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah. And you look at the race 3 back at Laurel. Broke 9th and boom, right to the front end. She is ultra fast. The gate is her issue. I hate keep on saying it, but when you look when she broke her maiden, boom, like a rocket, she went by 5.5. Boom. in the Cacadia when she won the $100,000 stakes race. She broke like a rocket. And then it seems like the gate has been her issue since then. But when she gets out of it, man, she could be a bear. So at 8-1, you want to take a gamble that she breaks today. She's going to have to outfoot the horse inside of her, though.
She's feeling herself
Yeah,
a little bit.
Right?
8-1 right now. Let's get more with Acacia Courtney.
Definitely, Greg. As I was saying, sometimes these horses get a little bit excited when they feel that wind on the track as well. So we look at the two, Pause for the Cause. Again, she just has that fitness. She has a classy look to her, moving over the track very nicely. And as I continue to look at her, I can actually understand why they thought she might be able to stretch out and go a longer distance. Though, again, I have seen, and I think we all agree, that she's more effective sprinting and hopefully be able to work out a trip in here. Now, the number 5, On Her Way. Trip really could be the key for her. Manny Franco kind of had her in a little bit of a hold, not letting her warm up too aggressively, but she was just kind of skipping over the track in a nice, relaxed type of warm-up. So not overly asking for her, just getting her to settle, giving her nice little pats now, making sure her mane is all over onto the right side, and he's got something to grab onto late if need be. And wanted to check in with the 6, China Rider. As you might have seen, she had a very aggressive warm-up. The more I look at her and the more I see her overall build, she's built a little bit up behind, that kind of rounded built behind the saddle. Seeing Kendrick Carmouche kind of stand up in the irons when he's warming her up. She has in the past shown a little bit of speed. I wouldn't be surprised to see her be on the engine early in today, and that might just help those kind of quote-unquote trip horses be even a little bit more lucky today.
We know Kendrick, there's nobody better at being quick early on, getting speed out of a horse out of the gates. We saw the aggressive warm-up he's given China Rider.
Listen,
I just don't know if she's quick enough
Yeah.
to keep pace with those two
It's
up
like
front.
the last race of Rohrbacher, I thought, okay, trying to get to the front end. Kendrick tried, but just happened to be Ian Glass was just faster, and Kendrick tried to get to the front end, and he couldn't. You're right. He's going to try to get to the front end here.
I don't see it, do you?
No, because the horse has gait issues, and the horse comes from way out of it. And here's the thing. She just won the race from way out of it, so why would you take her out of her running game? So I think that she'll be sitting back. The issue is the 5's probably a better closer than her and a better horse, and she's 0 for 7. She's 0 for 7 on a fast racetrack. When you look at the 5 On Her Way, she's 6 for 19. That's a big difference.
Her last 2 wins, actually. It's going to be interesting to see what she does, because we're still talking about China Rider, the 6. Her last 2 wins, they've come from off the pace, but they've both been on off tracks.
They've both been off tracks,
but
yeah.
And Kendrick was aboard for the last one, too, when she came from off the pace.
Well, if you look, she's 2 for 14 on turf. She's 2 for 7 on a wet track. She has 4 wins lifetime. This is tough to back.
We're hoping these dark skies would get a little darker. It's not going to happen, I don't think, as we're about to load. Even money on both the 2 class runners of the field. The 2 Pause for the Cause.
Getting close to
and the
favoritism.
5 On Her Way. Both at even money. Those are those dark skies we're talking about, but the rains have stayed away. We've been good all day. Wow. And it's actually very nice weather out here. Perfect for the horses.
No, it has. It's great. Listen, a lot of people always ask, and I always say, listen, the colder it is, the better for the horses, the worse it is for Greg and myself. But, hey, we want the horses. We can wrap up.
You're cold right now?
No, I'm absolutely wonderful right now.
Okay, good, because it's not cold.
It's not.
There is On Her Way moving in line. Let's send it upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call. Here's race 7 at Belmont.
1 left to load. It's China Rider. And they're all in line. They're off. Legendary straight to the front. Pause for the Cause. Goes with Legendary early. It's these 2 vying for the early lead here. Opening up 2.5 on Squan's Kingdom and On Her Way. China Rider will sit off the pace 6 lengths behind these dueling leaders who are going right at it. Legendary on the outside and Pause for the Cause down at the rail. Stride for stride through this opening quarter mile, and they're winging right along here. 22.26, that opening quarter mile. They've got a 4.5 length lead on Her Way, who grabs 3rd on the outside of Squan's Kingdom. China Rider is 7 lengths off these leaders. Around the far turn, Pause for the Cause pokes ahead in front. Legendary trying to stick with Pause for the Cause. On her way is getting closer with each and every stride now. Then comes Squan's Kingdom and China Rider, 45.12 the half. Legendary's drop back, and Pause for the Cause is left on the lead here as they turn for home. Opening up 4 now is Pause for the Cause, with On Her Way second and Work to Do. And then on the outside, it's China Rider, followed by Squan's Kingdom. Pause for the Cause had all that early pressure, but plenty left in the tank. And John Velasquez and Pause for the Cause roll home 6 in front of On Her Way. And then it was Squan's Kingdom and China Rider.
Pause for the Cause gets challenged up front, takes that heat early from Legendary. It did not matter. No one, including On Her Way, was even getting close to this filly in the stretch.
Wow. What was that?
That was a huge effort.
No, that was a giant effort, because I kept looking at you like, what's Johnny doing? Does he have a ton of horse? He could have backed out of there and went around the 3 if you wanted, because you can see Legendary is just not the same horse. She's backing out of it. But he decided, you know what, I'll just stay on the inside and rate her on the inside. That's very tough to do, to rate a horse with another horse basically on top of you. And I'm looking at On Her Way going, oh my God, Manuel Franco's got to be licking his chops. And it's like, wow, she just went away from this group. Pause for a Cause. This filly by Giants Causeway, this is a giant effort. And wow, they hit this New York bred late to 3-5.
1:15.4 final time, dueling up front with Legendary. That horse doesn't even finish among the top 4, completely checked out of it. And then for Pause for the Cause to have this much left to run away from the field, big effort from this daughter of Giants Causeway. She is far from done. This is a return on back race for her, for Kieran McLaughlin. Well done. What a training job. Prices will set up the nightcap next.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit piranhaeat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NYRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
He's got a lot of the physical traits that Run Happy stamping his foals with. He's a big horse. He's very well balanced, and he looks precocious and fast.
He's got lots of bone, very correct, and a big walk, and very smart head to him. He's very intelligent colt. Temperament as well. My horse has a beautiful temperament. He lies down in the stall every day, and just a cool horse to be around.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, it's brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. This was a performance that would suggest she needs to face better company next time out. Pause for the Cause. This was a very big race from her.
It really was, and sometimes they just need a little time. This is a filly they tried to get on the turf, and she's 0 for 6 on the turf, and then they decided, you know what, let's keep her on the dirt. She got a little sour in July. They gave her some time off, and man, they got to be excited with that effort.
Let's go downstairs to Acacia.
Greg, thank you. I'm standing by with winning jockey John Velasquez. And Johnny, Pause for the Cause had pressure the entire way and then pulled away. Tell me about your trip and how much you had left coming down to the wire.
You know, she come back from round 16 going the grass, going through it short, and I thought she probably wouldn't have that much speed and kind of help it a little bit out of there. And she grabbed into the bridle right away, and I'm trying to let the other horse go. And I was not being successful in trying to let the other horse go. I mean, she got into the bridle pretty strong. And I sat there until the 3 pull, and when I put my hands down, and then she opened up right away. And obviously down the stretch, she kept going. So very impressed.
And she had that distance turf race, as you mentioned. She had kind of been knocking on the door. What was your conversation, perhaps, with Kieran McLaughlin or his assistant coming into this race, as she hadn't seen the winner's circle in a while?
Well, wasn't much a conversation other than they just ride it the way you can. It's very easy when you ride for people like that. They give you the confidence and they go ahead and ride in the way you think is going to suit it best for the race. Like I said, you know, I thought I was going to break to get a little position just to be second or third, and all of a sudden she grabbed into the bridle and she was more aggressive than I thought she would, and then she did it pretty easy. I kind of like those.
Makes your job a little bit easier, right?
Absolutely.
Johnny, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice to just perhaps sometimes be a passenger, Greg.
Pause for the cause. I would say this was her most impressive performance we've ever seen from her.
I would think so. I'm with you. And she's tested outside of New York company and been just fine. Just like today, she's won a couple of races. But I'm with you. Today was ultra impressive, the way she was able to handle everything. At 6.5, she can stretch to 7. I think she can get the 1-turn mile. And there you see the late pick 5 follow along. And Baffin Bay was tough to get to. Pause for a cause wasn't. But if you're live, the 2 and the 5 are 7,000 and 6,000. Some other ones are big time. And if you're alive in the Empire 6, somebody's alive for the whole jackpot.
Which, I don't know if we've seen that since it's been instituted, have we?
I think we did one time at Saratoga. If the 10 would win Rheingold, it'd be $190,000 to somebody. Now, the 12, the 14, and the 9, 9, 12, and 14 are 5 out of 6. So if you have the 9, 12, or 14, they happen to win, don't throw away your ticket or check your account because they're 5 out of 6. And the 10's the whole ball of wax. All the other ones are paying well, too.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Well, of course, we'll talk about the nightcap when we return. Also, a preview of our Sunday Breeders' Cup win, and you're in races north of the border at Woodbine in the summer, and then the Talma. We'll talk about those 2 races, which we'll bring you live this weekend. Next.
Plata. This prolific son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Plata. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Plata, standing at Cleveland Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
You couldn't compose a better pedigree. A half-brother to Beholder.
Beholder's gonna go all the way.
A half-brother to Into Mischief.
Into Mischief wins the Casco Futility.
The most versatile performer from this brilliant family.
Mendelssohn's gonna do it. Mendelssohn has won it by a length.
What a win by Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn by a conservative 17 lengths.
Scat Daddy's best-bred son at stud. Mendelssohn.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We're back, and of course, coming up on Saturday, we have the Woodbine Mile live coverage, but also on Sunday, we have 2-year-olds in the summer and then the Talma Stakes.
Our camera guy's just eating a sandwich. Leave him alone.
All right. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day, yeah.
Group 1 races for both the boys and the 2-year-old fillies. We'll start with the boys and keep on trucking. Back-to-back wins by a combined 18-plus lengths for Catherine Day Phillips.
Yeah, we've been seeing this a little bit more. I've seen that Turf Paradise, now at Woodbine. This is a maiden optional claimer this horse debuted at, and then went into the Clarendon Stakes and maiden optional claiming, won by 11 3/4, and then crushed this field by 7 3/4. This is the son of Society's chairman, have a silver train mare, Cobra, and then been just somewhat of a freak on the synthetic. We'll see what happens when they get on the turf course.
Meanwhile, Mystic Lancelot Todd Pletcher debuted sprinting on turf at Saratoga, won by 3+ lengths. Not easy to win by that kind of margin in a 5.5 furlong turf sprint.
No, that is true, and our collector has come back to win, and let's be honest, a lot of Todd's horses, he didn't have one of his better meets, at least with his 2-year-olds, but this one really ran well, broke sharp with Johnny V aboard. We'll be aboard this one for Phoenix Thoroughbreds, and I think we'll love every part of the stretch out quality road on the bottom side. I think the son of Into Mischief's got a ton of talent.
All right, that is the Grade 1 summer for the Colts. That'll be race 7. Then we're going to see the 2-year-old fillies in action in race 9. That is in the Natoma. And Fair Maiden for trainer Owen Hardy. Back-to-back wins, synthetic, and then on turf by more than 21 lengths combined.
I mean, the horse to beat by far. Owen Hardy, listen, this horse won the Catch the Glimpse by 7.5 lengths, like you're saying. This does not happen. This does not happen. And look at the way she's doing it. She's on the outside. She's obviously in the Godolphin Blue. I mean, this is an absolute joke. I don't care who she's facing. Flavian Pratt will be aboard. And you could see she's all over the place. She's still green. Her tail's wagging. She's looking around. She's taking off. She's not taking off. Look at her ears. She's all over the place. She's so green, but she's so talented. And like you said, she's won by 22 lengths. This could be any kind, and she could be so, so dangerous.
Back-to-back buyer speed figures in the 90s for Fair Maiden as a 2-year-old. Abscon will get the outside post. Irad Ortiz Jr. will take over. Eddie Keneally trains, and off a win, first time out at Ellis. Came to Stakes Company at Saratoga in the Bolton Landing, and very good accounting of herself to run second.
I thought she ran well in the Bolton Landing. She sort of got caught in chase mode. I thought Philly came to the outside of her. I thought she kicked in to hold on to a nice second. The winner, Kamara, was just much the best, but she won at Ellis Park first time out. We saw Eddie Kennelly ship some horses up to Saratoga and do well. You get Irad Ortiz aboard. Castellano was aboard last time, so I would not count out Eddie, especially at Churchill Downs, especially when he ships horses up to Woodbine. He's just very, very tough, and when he ships horses, he means business.
Mark Cassey is going to send out intriguing Euro starting the first time in North America, I should say. Secret Stash, too, coming off a 4-length score on turf, and I was already run and won at a mile.
Yes, and here's the deal. It's owned by Gary Barber. Mr. Barber of the
shot caller.
Yes, of the Bond films, no longer. If this horse opens live,
don't forget that. He's of Got Stormy fame.
Yes.
No one cares about the movies.
But beware, because when he bets his horses, they're the goods, and Mr. Cassie knows. So Secret Stash is the filly in there. That is I think the wild card
and
horse.
I said shot caller because he's the one who made that call. Run Got Stormy a week back against the boys with 4-star Dave. Mark Cassey didn't want to do it. Gary Barber said, we're doing it. I think it's the right call
when
in
you
the
watch
end.
Roger Moore and all the boys hanging from buildings all those years, you're willing to gamble a little bit.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Bond? I was a Roger Moore guy. Sean Connery, by far.
It's not even close.
I understand, but I wasn't around for Sean. I was more around for.
You haven't watched him?
Well, of course, but Roger Moore was my guy. He was more my. Oh yeah,
I love
come
them all,
on,
but
man.
if I have to pick one, Sean Connery.
Somebody get the 10 home for someone. 190 G's. Like Noda said, he'd be popping bottles.
How do you take your martini?
Straight up.
Come on, I set you up for a Bond line. We'll be back.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify.
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
She's just a very obvious, very strong, well-made filly, great bone, great substance, a very easy filly to like. very easy filly to get along with, and I would say be a trainer's delight.
What we really like about our Unhappy Yearling is just he looks very, very fast. He's beautifully balanced. He's a great mover. We've just been so happy with the way he's grown up and matured, and we really like him at the moment.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Brought to you by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net. Today, we are 12 minutes to post in our finale coming up. And if you had a chance to look at Recess and the trip this filly had last time out, she got brutalized after getting to the front out of the gate, completely dropped back to last, and then she circled the field, looked like she was romping to a win, and then got completely shut off on the rail in the stretch again.
Yeah, we just got to show it to you, okay? This is what happens out of the gate. She breaks okay, right? And what ends up happening is he steers her Irad inside. Now he takes her outside. What ends up happening, now the inside horse goes, okay, I'm going to shut you off. So he pulls her all the way back. Look at that. To second to last, gets her to settle. Now he steadily takes her down the backside, and he just starts to move up and move up and move up. Meanwhile, FICA at this point is about fourth or third, the 5, actually the 6 on this side. Now here's the stretch to Recess. Now he's going to try to go too deep. Instead, he has like 2 passes on the rail, and he runs into a ton of more trouble because she's about to go by these horses right here and decides, let me go too deep. No, it's not going to happen again. Yes, it is. And boom, gets hit really hard right there. And there's FICA in the middle, got a little bit of it as well. And
she was swooping by that field, making a huge run after dropping back to second to last. It looked like, who knows, but it looked like she was going on to win that race.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. The reason why I like FICA a little bit more, Moinspun beat her 2 back. Moinspun came back to win easily. Since the blinkers have been on, she's been interested a little bit more. You could tell at the end of that race, she didn't love that tight quarters. She's a long striding type of horse, and I think she'll love the Belmont turns.
We have a rider change on the 1 in here. No Junior Alvarado, as mentioned. He was thrown from his mount earlier. He's off all mounts, but again, he did get up under his own power. That was great news, but
yes,
not riding the rest of the card. It will be Ruben Silvera on the 1 Farcical.
We talked about Ruben earlier. He's about 14% for the year. Do not discount him.
I don't understand why this horse is 8-1. This horse is taking the biggest drop of anybody in the field, coming out of straight maiden races. Now, yeah, they were at Delaware Park.
Don't matter.
But the horse has hit the board each of the last 2 against better, and there were some next out winners running in those races with her.
Yeah, you're right. And listen, I've said multiple times, Delaware, Laurel, Parks, the turf race is Monmouth. They're transferring over here to the East Coast horses. So, yeah. I'm with you. I think just because Ruben's aboard, maybe 8-1, but like I said, he's so capable.
And can I throw out?
Well, if you always can throw me a long shot because you're
look at this
always
horse
a
right
knowledgeable
here.
one.
All right, it's the 8 here.
Okay.
Handle with care. Tried to go to the front last time out. Got bumped early, a little bit in that race, and then you look weakened late. I don't think the best style for this filly even is being on the lead, because you look at some of the other races when she's run against this level before, she's been in the mix when she is stalked and sat in a mid-pack and made a late run. And we'll see if she's able to do that this afternoon. And she gets in a little bit light, too, which never hurts.
Yeah, she gets in about, what, 7 pounds lighter than everybody else. If you're a 3-year-old, you're 120. If you're older, 124. Bug Boys getting about a 118, 117 and a half. Yeah, I don't see why not. They raised her up in class. She was able to handle it a little bit more. You're right. She has a couple of races to go back to where she's made up some ground. She's got 3 seconds.
She was second at this condition against the next out winner in Grand Banks not that long ago. I mean, that race was this year. As we start our post parade, Here's the big class dropper. 701 is way too good a price on this one. Farcical, rider change, Ruben Silvera.
This one have a mizzen masked mare, Cosmonaut. That's probably where she gets her gray mizzen mask, but you're right. 3 good races out of 4. That's a good price.
Comment line for Recess says it all. We showed it to you. Brutal trip, no chance, and that is true. Last start.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me was the start before she lost at 85 cents on the dollar, but better trip, she wins today.
Big expense. 12-1. Rajiv Mirage, 0 for 22.
Almost took a field gate to wire 3 starts ago at 33-1, but that was going long. Now going to cut back a tiny bit in distance.
FICA, Kendrick Carmouche, Joe Sharp coming out of the same race as Recess, wound up second in there with an unimpeded trip.
Yeah, I wonder what Kendrick's going to do here. He's maybe get a little bit more speed out of her, at least keep her close, and I think she's the one to beat besides the 2, obviously.
Or I should say not as impeded as Recess.
Yeah.
Katuk, Ray Handel, Eric Consell.
Run some good races, like 2 back in a good field, but she just hasn't done much running. She needs to really improve.
Look at the sire. Get Stormy.
Yeah.
Stunning Beauty, blinkers going on. Start number 2 for David Donk. Drops down in class.
By the sire what? Who's the sire of the 7?
Get Stormy.
Back-to-back Get Stormies here.
Here's the 8, Handle with Care, the one we're making a case for. Now with Mertcan Cantor-Marcy.
Yeah, and
Benji Hernandez.
Yeah, and a horse that very versatile. We'll see what Benji does. Tries to go to the front end. Maybe he'll push from the beginning and see if somebody else wants to go.
Scarlet's Command, a little tough to make a case for.
Yeah, real tough to make a case for. On a sloppy racetrack, maybe, but has her work cut out for her.
They're going to have flashlights with the jockeys because it is getting very dark out there. Here's the 10, Rheingold. 2 sprints, now stretching out. I would not be shocked.
Well, somebody is hoping that Mike Luzzy has a flashlight for the wire because that's $190,000 in someone's pocket. That is the jackpot. That son or daughter of Noble Mission.
Violetta's Visions, Orlando Noda. Tried turf against better first time out and wound up 10th of 11.
We were talking about if the 10 wins, that person would be popping bottles. Well, Orlando Noda was the one that dropped that line. That's one's going to debut or get Lasix for the 4th career start.
And then 48-1, this AE gets in. Bull Feathers, first time on turf and first time going anything beyond a sprint.
Blinkers last time at 60-1. No, not at 48-1. But this is another horse. Again, the 9, 12, and 14, they carry over the pick 6. The 10's the jackpot.
Not scared.
5 out of 6. But if you have the 9, if somehow you just said, I'm going to throw the 14 in, you might have thrown your ticket away, or you might look on your account, and if the 14 wins, pays $100, you're like, oh.
You're fine. You don't need to go. You don't need to go look for it.
Let's
go to Acacia Courtney.
Greg, thank you. We'll start with your 7-5 favorite on the 2, Recess, who, as you guys were mentioning, I mean, a nightmare trip does not even begin to describe what happened to this filly last time out. That was off of a bit of a freshening as well at Saratoga. She did end up finishing 4th as the favorite. She actually came back pretty well and got shut off again in the stretch. So just for a horse to re-rally like she did, especially in an experienced one, I think that says a lot about her because horses, when their momentum is cut off, have a really hard time regaining it. Now, she's a very eager type of filly, and that's was the problem with her last time. That's how she ended up getting into trouble. I hope that she settles a little bit more. See how her head is high? She's really on the muscle. She's kind of prancing around out there on the track. I would like to see her put her head down and settle a little bit as they get closer and closer to post time. Now, the number 5, FICA, was actually in that Mrs. Orb race as well. Her 2 races off of the layoff on the turf have actually been pretty solid. The first one off the layoff was for 40 here at Belmont going a mile. She had the outside post. She was very wide the entire time. Ran into a good field, Moyne Spun, who we saw come back to win yesterday. And again, Mrs. Orb, who won next time out in that Saratoga race. Then last time out, she actually wanted to be forwardly placed and got squeezed back early. She was pretty green late in the game as well in that last race. So I think the 3rd start of her form cycle, 3rd off the layoff. She's very fit today, and Kendrick Carmouche keeping her a little bit more collected here with the pony. The 1, Farcical, is taking a drop in class and actually debuted for this level on the turf without Lasix and ran 2nd. She's a 7-1 price right now. Ruben Silvera aboard, who already has a win on today's card. Don't overlook this filly. I actually really liked what I saw from her as well. She's got a lean, leggy build to her, good size, and I think belongs in this field. Finally, the 4, Big Expense. has had a lot of chances, certainly. If you bet this one on top recently, she's cost you some big expenses, that's for sure. But she's actually had some races on the go back when she shows speed that she is able to use to her benefit. Last time out, she was bumped really hard at the start. Again, that Mrs. Orb race, she was taken out of her comfort zone. When she shows speed, that's the key for her. She got really on her toes with the riders up in the paddock and has continued that onto the track. I expect her to be part of the pace.
Acacia, thank you. So 3-2 on the 2 recess for Todd Pletcher. Any sort of cleaner trip today, I mean, she is going to be an absolute handful.
She is. I get it. She was the race before that at Belmont was a loaded race. Moyne Spun was second. You see Moyne Spun in a lot of these horses running lines. FICA, 2 back, Moyne Spun 1. Katuk the 6, 2 back, Moyne Spun 1. Big Expense, 2 back, Moyne Spun. So there's a common name in a lot of these horses' history. And Recess was favorite that day. Obviously, something went amiss and then came back, and she was going to win that race. She just had so much trouble. Do you trust her for Mr. Rapoli or not? That remains to be seen. But like you said, if she gets a clean trip, 7-5 could be nice. But there's a full field. But you look at the 9, 10, 12, 14. Are they really players at all?
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I would not be concerned about those runners.
And usually you and I are reaching for long shots.
The 10 may be the only one of that bunch.
And that's why somebody is alive to the 10 and they're not alive to the 9, 12, and 14. You make a good point. The 10's got the best number out of all of those horses.
Yeah, 2 sprints, 2 stretching out by Noble Mission.
And showed a tiny bit of speed last time, sneaky speed, broke slow and then rushed up. So I could see Mike Luzzy giving that person a $190,000 thrill for a little while if the 10 breaks sharper.
And to me, the best value on the board right now, it remains the 1.
It does, by far. And maybe it's because Junior went down a little bit earlier. He's okay if you just joined us. But Ruben Silvera is taking over. Now, Ruben's already had a win on the turf. So you would think there'd be some confidence for Greg DePrima. But this horse is coming in from Delaware. People aren't giving this horse respect. I don't know.
And it doesn't matter. You know, I know Delaware is not the New York circuit, but it's still maiden specials, straight maiden specials. Now dropping in for Statebred maiden 40.
Barbaro debuted at Delaware. I mean, we can't. It used to be way back in the day where we could say, okay, when they ship in from it's not that way anymore. Even out in California, they're shipping in from Sunland. They're shipping in from all places where they would never have a chance. You know, horses from Monmouth Park did well at Saratoga. Horses from Laurel did well here at Belmont before we went. And horses at Delaware run square races. This filly, this little gray filly, has run a good race on the turf all 3 times.
And she, from that inside post, could get a great trip, be able to save ground. And then we'll see how much punch she has when running time comes here in the stretch. But the favorite, no question, it is the 2 recess, point of entry filly for Todd Pletcher. Looking for a cleaner trip this time around. Manny Franco hopping on board for the first time. We'll see how it plays out here in the nightcap from Belmont Park. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
Last few runners to step forward here. Rheingold about to move into the starting gate. Katuk and Violetta's Visions will be the next 2. And Bull Feathers to the outside stall will complete the line here. Bull Feathers coming up to the starting gate. And going in. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Handle with Care who comes out running with Bull Feathers on the far outside. These 2 out for the early lead, and Big Expense came out running in 3rd toward the inside. Farther out and moving up is Scarlet's Command as they head up the back stretch. Katuk is in between horses, and then it's Stunning Beauty, Rheingold on the outside, and then Recess in behind them. They're being followed by FICA, Farcical, and Violetta's Visions. 22.37 was a quick first quarter by Bull Feathers, who's out there in front. This 66-1 long shot leads by 2.5 lengths on Candle with Care in second. Katuk is third on the outside, then Big Expense, and farther out comes Scarlet's Command. After that, it's Stunning Beauty, who's about 6 behind at this stage of the race. Recess has 8 lengths to make up and is down on the inside, moving for the far turn. So around the turn they go. It is still Bull Feathers through a 45.84 half mile. Taking it to him on the far turn with Handle with Care. Sticking to her, 3/4 of a length behind. Big Expenses right in behind them with 2.5 lengths to make up, and then comes Katuk. Recess is moved up into 5th position here. 4 lengths off the lead as they come toward the top of the stretch. Handle with Care, colors Bull Feathers. Here's Big Expense on the outside coming on. Recess 2 down the center, then Katuk on the outside, and FICA. They arrive at the 8th pole, and it's Big Expense and Recess. Recess on the outside to the front. Then Big Expense, and closing late on the outside is Farcical. It's going to be Recess. Recess didn't play around today. Won it by 2 over Farcical. Then FICA and Big Expense.
Recess, your favorite, gets the win at 8-5. Manny Franco, patient ride here. He knew he had plenty underneath him.
Yeah, he really did. He was not taking any chances. Also, he took a tiny bit of a chance to split horse. He didn't want to go about 7 wide. He made a conscious decision about right here. He looked like, I was going to go wide. Now, you know what? I got the 4 and the 6. Those 2 horses are sort of dead horses to me. Let me go outside the 4, inside the 6, and that's exactly what happened. I'll tell you what. The Little Gray, the 1, did not break too well, was off the bit for a little while, but she came rolling down the center of the racetrack. The 2 won the race nicely. The 5 swapped to the wrong lead late in the race here. You can see right there, and that's what made the 1 get up for second. Another good ride by Ruben Silvera, but you called it, Wolfie. This horse was going to be tough to beat, and Manny Franco gave the horse a great ride.
Recess the win. Farcical winds up second. It held at 6-1.
Yeah.
Never really got bet down a whole lot. But Recess, your favorite, takes the nightcap here. Todd Pletcher. Rapoli stable. Question is now, did they keep her?
That's a good question. I'm going to say no. What do you think?
I'm going to say no as well. We'll find out when we come back. We'll give you the prices, payouts for all the exotics as well when we return on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
We have 2 run-happy yearlings here at Mockmer Hall. We have a colt out of Addison Run in Book 2 and a filly out of Sugar Reef in Book 4. The colt is out of a young graded stakes producing unbridled song mare. The filly is a 10 mover, a great walker. They're good doers, they have great minds, they're easy, they're on themselves, etc. Really, really well put together.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
We're gonna go traveling.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, and the favorite takes the nightcap here. Recess, much cleaner trip this time around, and that equals a maiden win in the 6th career start for this 3-year-old filly by point of entry out of a more than ready mare. Rapoli Stable Silks in the winner's circle.
Yeah, congratulations, like you said, Manny Franco. I think that's Manny Franco was on. That's the wrong one. There it is. There we go. Recess. We have Todd for a cause up there. There's Manny Franco. The one ran a nice little race. And there you see the Empire 6, 4,900, 120,000. That's still a pretty good payoff, considering he ended up with favorite. And that late pick 5, $7,100. If you had that, that's pretty good handicapping.
Let's head downstairs to Acacia.
I'm here with winning jockey Manny Franco, who's been having himself a very good Belmont meet so far, and Recess gets the job done. She had a nightmare trip last time, as I'm sure you're aware. So how does it feel to see her get the win today?
And my main, like you said, she have a brutal trip last time, the last two start. So today my main thing was keeping on the clear, trying to give her a clear trip and work out.
And she seems like a little bit of a high energy filly. She kind of had her head up a little bit warming up. What did you do to keep her mind on business?
And I just trying to, in the race, to don't get on her mouth too much. And she was so nice and comfortable. I just was following the right horse. And when the time comes, I just make my move and she was there for me.
What were you feeling as you were coming down to the wire? Seems like she had a very nice turn of foot.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of horse under me. In the top of the stretch, so I just trying to wait the longer I could, and because I know that I have a lot of horses.
Manny, thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Cassie.
Wrapping up the day in a good way, Greg, as Recess was a patient ride, and that paid off, getting her to the winner's circle.
Yeah, well done by Manny Franco. After the trip this filly had last time out, making sure that that wasn't a repeat performance.
Yeah, I call Manny Franco the 300 hitter that gets no notice. He's like a jockey here that is so darn good. It's a great finisher. And it's hard to ride on the turf. Any jockey will tell you, Mig will tell you, as you see the late pick 5 following that paid a little bit over 7,000. He's just such a good rider, but he gets unnoticed with the Ortiz brothers, Castellano, Velasquez, but man, he's up there. He's pretty darn good.
All right, so we're in the books here on this Thursday afternoon. One of our sponsors, Claiborne Farm. No history of this sport can be told without telling the story of Claiborne Farm. Horse racing's second Triple Crown winner was foaled on the grounds, as was Seabiscuit, who was foaled and raised there. In all, 22 Kentucky Derby winners. They were produced by Claiborne Stallions or their progeny. It's just a part of the amazing history of this legendary farm.
The Claiborne Tour allows racing fans the opportunity to stroll the hallowed ground of one of the most storied farms in racing.
We just wanted to come down and see horse country. My son's a big University of Kentucky fan, so he wanted to see that. So he gets his, I get mine.
Since 1910, Claiborne's breeding shed has produced more than 80 championship racehorses. Guests get the opportunity to walk the iconic shed rows of the Stallion Barns, seeing where some of the sport's all-time greats once lived.
In the equine world, these guys are movie stars.
The biggest thrill for most guests is getting the opportunity to literally touch some of the game's top stallions.
You kind of get in a set routine sometimes, and where we see it every day, and then when you do a tour and you bring someone up, and when you walk out Orb or you walk out Warfront, Blame, and you see the people's faces and listen to the chatter, it makes you step back and look at it all over again.
Just the majesty of the farm, the beauty, and it's a farm where you can get up close and personal with the stallions. They're very kind here. The employees are, and they're very welcoming.
You don't see athletes like this strong, this well-built, and just majestic horses. And just to see the vast areas that they have here, and listening to Kyle tell the stories of the horses that have been bred to Warfront, incredible. It's like a who's who.
Oh, just the interaction, getting to see people, how they are around these horses out here, because we get to work with them on a daily basis. Seeing that little girl's face and that little boy's face, how they react to seeing these stallions, it's special all on its own.
Warfront was the last horse we saw. I didn't think we'd see him because you're talking about an $80 million horse.
He is our big horse here. We have nicknamed him the Sire on Fire. Cannot do anything wrong. He's offspring sell great. They race great. He is attracting the top females in the country. He's been made it to the 2010 Horse of the Year, the filly's Zenyatta twice.
We first saw Run Happy, and that horse is just a brilliant horse. You know, has won so many big races. And then we just walked through the stable there, and we saw all the other horses. And
The tour concludes with a chance to see the Claiborne Cemetery, where some of the sport's most treasured thoroughbreds were laid to rest.
it's just incredible. You know, if you're a racing fan, this is the place to be.
If you can, under any circumstances, make that trip, it is absolutely something you got to put on the bucket list.
No, it's up there. It's one of my favorite places to go to. The city itself and the farm itself, it's just immaculate what they put into it. You can eat off the ground. That's how immaculate it is. I always love going there, and they're always gracious too as well.
We have so many good races to look forward to coming up this weekend. So many Breeders' Cup win in your in races coming up. For me, Dennis Moment, the horse I'm most looking forward to seeing coming up. For you, who are you most looking forward to seeing it running this weekend, Saturday or Sunday?
My girl. My girl got Stormy.
Yeah.
My girl, yeah. I just think she's the real deal. I think she's going to prove everybody wrong. I know she came back quick. She won the 4-star Dave. I really do want to see her run. I want to see if she is, like you said yesterday to me, is she Tepin 2.0? We'll see.
She was something else in the 4-star Dave, beating the boys off a week's return and setting a track record in the process. Everybody was talking about Uni coming in. It was Got Stormy who stole the show, beating the boys.
It really was. Well, watch Ricardo Centeno. He's going to look between his legs. You don't see this in mid-stretch in a turf race, and you don't see this with two Chad Brown runners behind you. It's just bottom line. Chad Brown won over 40-some-odd races there. He won almost every turf race. Got Stormy destroyed two of his horses. That's just the bottom line, and you cannot say anything about it. I don't care what anybody wants to say, and she ran 132 flat. So if she repeats any kind of that effort, I don't know if she can because it was so freaky. She switched back to her wrong lead. It looked like she was having a lot of fun there. If she repeats that at all, she's going to be a handful.
Yeah, and I'd love to see that Tyler Gaffalione gets back on. He was on March to the Arts. He was already committed. She wound up running a week back in that same race, so they went to Ricardo Santana Jr., who he deserves credit, too. Tremendous job filling in, but Tyler doesn't lose the mount. Yeah, and I had talked to Ricardo about it, and Ricardo was like, hey, I was just happy to be on her for one race. But listen, I understand Tyler is Mark's guy, and even Ricardo told me, he goes, listen, he won the Preakness on War Will for Mark, so that's his guy. I understand that, but it's also good business for Ricardo, so now that Mark knows, hey, I can ride Ricardo on the turf if I need him, or I can ride him on that filly if something ever happens to Tyler Gaffalione. So Ricardo was not upset at all. He understands the business. It'd be the same way for him if it was the Steve Asmussen horse because Ricardo's Steve's main rider. Today, in terms of these races, we didn't have any stakes races on the card, but I think we saw a filly we might see in a stakes race in the immediate future and Pause for the Cause. Yeah, she might have turned the corner today, especially against New York breds. I wanted a New York bred filly to face her right now. Yeah. She ran huge in the 7th for Kieran McLaughlin. Does so off a couple of months layoff. She does so cutting back in distance, going turf to dirt and putting away the speed of the race. Holding off On Her Way, who is really talented and classy, is a closer who was coming at her, but she didn't even get close. Pause for the Cause picks up the 5th win of her career. For Chester Mary Broman, again trained by Kieran McLaughlin and John Velasquez aboard for that winning ride. She may be tackling a lot tougher in her next performance off what she did today. We will see it tomorrow, 4 Eastern on MSG Plus, 4:30 on FS2.